online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Tourism is our #1 industry. As Guam's largest employer, tourism supports more than 50,000 jobs. In fact, 1 out of every 5 jobs is tourism related. Annually, tourism generates over $163 million in tax revenue. Without it, every household would pay an additional $3,700 per year. From real estate to retail, tourism has a positive impact on every industry, helping make Guam a better place to live, work, and visit. Support tourism. Brought to you by the Guam Visitors Bureau, celebrating over 55 years of tourism.
Half a day, I'm Callan Perez and I'm running for senator. Service to our island has shaped my life, from community advocacy and substance abuse recovery to supporting sustainable agriculture. Inspired by my parents, Dr. Perez and Dr. Erickson, I remain committed to serving the people of Guam. I'm Callan Perez and I approve this message.
Calling all seniors, there's nothing like Silver Savings Tuesday at Agana Shopping Center. If you're 55 and better, Tuesdays are made just for you. All senior citizens can now enjoy special discounts and deals every Tuesday at Vitamin World, SM Island, Miniso, Capricciosa, Taco Bell, Robbins Planters, Cinnabon, Subway, and of course, Ross Dress for Less. Great food, smart savings, and island favorites all in one place and all for seniors. Silver Savings Tuesdays only at Agana Shopping Center.
Hagåtña, get ready! Something big is coming to your neighborhood. A brand new Cost You Less experience is almost here, bringing family fun, entertainment, and giveaways. Follow Cost You Less Guam on Facebook or Instagram for details. Something exciting is coming soon.
Explore, snap, and share for a chance to win a round-trip ticket to Taiwan. Join the Guam Photo Hunt and visit iconic landmarks and hidden gems island-wide. The more locations you photograph, the more chances you have to win exciting prizes. Learn more and submit to win online at visitguam.com/photo hunt. Terms and conditions apply. Explore, snap, and rediscover Guam. Brought to you by the Guam Visitors Bureau.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
So, what's your idea of a 10?
I love guys who don't text and drive.
Girls that wait until they're parked to text? Bro, instant 10.
I don't know, but I got the ick when I went out with this boy who texted while driving.
10s wait to send. Eyes on the road, not your phone.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Balanced, fair, thoughtful. Wave 105 FM.
Wave 105, welcome to the show. This is the BrightSide on this Tuesday, August 11th. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Ryan St. Nicholas. Monday through Friday, I have the honor of introducing this gentleman, the host of the show here on the BrightSide, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
And we do want to thank our sponsors. That's Chili's. At Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. Micro Pack. From Bose to Sony and more, Micro Pack is Guam's home for quality electronics, for sound tech, and everything in between. Think Micro Pack. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. Triple J, it's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail and drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. And GTA, we start with you. Welcome to it. Another Right Side here on Wave 105. Viva Matis! It's Tuesday, August 11, 671-922-1051 or 1052. We are online, thewave105.com, as well as our YouTube channel, Wave 105.1 FM Guam. Thanks for hanging out with us. I couldn't take my eyes off of what is out there regarding the Tupac Shakur murder case.
Oh, really?
There's updates on this thing.
Really?
Yes.
It was like 30 years ago.
Yes,
right?
30 years. Yep. And so there's a murder trial that has begun in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah. Jury selection started today.
Interesting.
So this guy named Dwayne Keefe D. Davis.
Okay, Kiki, yeah, I think it's
Keefe?
Yeah, Keefe D or
Keefe D, yes. Yeah. So this guy just can't keep his mouth shut, basically.
Yeah.
And that's why, the FBI has been paying attention to him.
Mm.
So he's now on trial. He's a former Southside Compton Crips leader.
Okay.
He was arrested in 2023 and is the only person ever criminally charged with Tupac's murder. He pled not guilty to murder with the deadly weapon. Prosecutors are now claiming Davis personally fired the shots. Their case is because he organized the retaliation and supplied the gun, making him criminally responsible as an accomplice under Nevada law. And so they go back with their 30 years ago with the theory, right? Tupac and Suge Knight, they attacked Orlando Baby Lane Anderson inside the MGM Grand after a Mike Tyson fight.
Yeah, I saw that.
And you saw the footage, right, of all of that, right? Anderson because Anderson's dead now.
Yeah.
Right? Like 3 years later, another gang.
Yeah. Gang
related issue. So he has since been, he's dead too. So Anderson was Davis's nephew and also a Southside Compton Crip. And so prosecutors say that Davis and others then went looking for Tupac and Suge Knight in retaliation. They eventually pulled up alongside Tupac's BMW in a white Cadillac. And then somebody inside the Cadillac opened fire. And so prosecutors allege that Davis was the shot caller, right, who obtained and provided the gun that was used in the attack.
Man.
And so Keefe D's own words, because he said these in interviews, he said these in books, that he was in that white Cadillac at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. And so every time he says these things,
there you go.
They're paying attention, and they have the receipts, too.
Yeah. In other words, don't get interviewed by Vlad.
Right. So over the years, Davis publicly discusses being inside the Cadillac. He discusses the killing in interviews, and his 2019, he even has a memoir.
Wow.
Compton Street Legend.
Jeez.
And the prosecutors intend to use these statements against him. So now Davis is arguing that those statements shouldn't be treated as reliable confession. They should just be treated as entertainment. Like, I'm not a real killer. Yeah. I just say these things in my rap songs.
I'm not a gangster, B. He doesn't even rap.
No, but you know how these other rappers
they
said all these 187 and all of that, right? And they're like, it's pure entertainment.
Well, for the rapper, yes, right? I mean, they rap about the streets and everything. Right. It doesn't mean that they're living the life,
right.
Whereas
it's storytelling.
Yeah, whereas Kiki D or what his name, whatever, Keefe D or whatever, he's a bona fide gangster. It's coming from Compton. I used to stay right near Compton, like the city next door, in Carson. So I've been exposed.
Prosecutors are saying you told the world that you put yourself at the scene of the crime.
Yeah. I don't know if they're gonna, the RICO, right? The RICO Act,
right?
Where you can really just, it was invented for the mafia, right? The RICO Act.
Oh, yeah.
And so now when it comes to cases like this, where you're going to individually go after one person, just to take down there, I'm almost certain they're probably going to use some of it, if not all.
He puts himself at the scene of the crime, and he's really the only person alive that he said was in that car.
Yeah.
Right? And so now the defense is saying those stories aren't true. He was just bragging, and he was exaggerating to make money.
Oh,
and it's like, so you made money. That's, to me, is just, obviously, his character has already been, it's already tainted if you are one of these, notorious gangsters or whatever, right? But you're making money off of somebody else's demise.
Yeah, you see, the sad thing is that there's no laws about, against being stupid, but there are laws in regards to lies, right? You lied to a federal officer, you lied, they could be used against you.
You know who else would know? Is Suge Knight.
Yeah,
because he's a witness.
Yeah,
and so he could also say, yeah, he was there.
I think the bullet grazed his head, I believe. One of the bullets were grazed
Suge
his
Knight's in jail too.
Yeah.
And he has said time and time again, this guy is like true to the streets, apparently. I'm not saying he's a great person. He's not. Suge Knight is not a good person. But he is going to take all of it to the grave. Your friend was killed in front of you. You were also the victim.
Yeah, but
and he's not going to say a word.
But snitches get stitches.
They end up in ditches.
Exactly. So, that's the rule, right? That's jungle rules pretty much.
He's basically saying, I'm not going to be a witness to you, the defense, and I'm not going to be a witness to you, the prosecutor.
Oh, it'll be different if, like, okay, you're
leave me out of this whole ordeal.
You're sentenced for 75 years. We'll cut it down in 50 if you can admit this. Oh yeah, you'll be a singing bird.
This case could run about a month or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
they want to bring in 35 to 45 potential witnesses.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that when they did this novel and wrote books and everything, whoever was the publisher or whoever was the guy that took the story, they should have had like a non-disclosure type thing, or you're telling the truth. This is not.
On the very end of the books, they say these characters are fictional. Yeah. They do not represent. That's how they say. They do that at the end of the movie too. When you're watching the credits, all of these characters are completely fictional and obviously made up, and they don't represent anybody.
What does it say in Law and Order? The names
have been changed
to protect the innocent. Well, there's nothing innocent about this when you go bragging, making money about books that.
How do
you do that? It's
Davis never says that he's the one that shot Tupac. He says his nephew was the one, Orlando Anderson, after getting beaten up, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that shot. But again, in Vegas, the law says like, well, who orchestrated it? You're the mastermind.
Yeah, well, even just
and
being
you
there.
you also provided the gun.
Yeah. But even just being there, guilt by association, pretty much. So, look at what's going on with Guam, right? You had those two gentlemen that killed that tourist,
and you have the driver.
And the driver. One of them committed suicide. But now I read the news where the prosecution is asking for 52 years.
Yes.
And he was just there. So it could be the same thing, right, with this guy in Vegas. So. Somebody's head has to roll, and they're going to make a prime example of this. Yeah, put it to bed. Because even the Biggie Smalls murder is still up and running and everything. So, is there a connection? I don't know, but
did you watch that latest documentary where they're trying to pin it on Puff Daddy too?
Yeah,
where it's like Puff Daddy's the one that kept Biggie in LA longer than he should have been.
Yeah.
But
then,
it depends on who you talk to, because they were saying that Biggie was saying, "No, I kind of like it here."
Yeah. Well, and then, the talk of Biggie leaving Bad Boy Records, and that would have been at the time, because he was the hot ticket item, right? He was the guy. And so for him to leave that label, I don't know. But, I don't think it's going to be that extreme. But then when you look at the baby oil deal,
my gosh,
kind of makes me think, like, okay, dude, if you went that far, having all these Diddy parties and everything, it kind of it puts a whole new light on what transpired way back then, right? So I don't know. I mean, unsavory people, but man, they make some good music.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I mean, it takes you back to when you were, at least for me, when I was a teenager, some good times, right?
Oh, yeah,
and so,
man.
how do I remember core memories? A lot of times, I associate it with some of these songs,
yeah,
right?
No, when the song comes out, they're like, okay, what year was that? Okay,
Right.
yeah, that was the year
Yes.
that, yeah. So no, I get it.
Absolutely. But when you look at, after all of that, and you look around and you say, where'd everybody go?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because nobody wants to touch you with the, with the stick. Everybody wants to keep their distance now from you.
Yeah.
We still, if there were so many of those white parties, right? Who actually attended? Because there's so many people that were very close to Puffy that I didn't go. I was at the regular parties.
No, everybody was like, oh,
but
they got
I didn't.
pictures?
I didn't get down with the freaky parties that were happening somewhere else.
You have people like, hey man, after 12 o'clock, I'm not, I'm leaving before 12 because, the freaks come out after 12.
Yeah.
So they leave. But
there's all kinds of theories too, even with Justin Bieber, right?
Oh, man.
His own mental health has been challenged, right? And they're saying, oh, it's because of the relationship that he had with Puffy, but he's not saying that, so it's all theoretical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they come out personally and expose, but I think if anybody was to expose Puffy, it would have happened, right, during the trial time. Now that he's in jail, nobody cares. It's like, all right, he's in jail, peace out. But yeah, I mean, there was, it was funny because what's his name? Short comedian guy.
Kevin Hart?
No, the other guy.
Cat Williams?
Cat Williams. He was predicting everything happening, even down to, we're going to have some aliens and, people are going to go down, lots of things are coming out. And that was back in 2020. He was saying 2024 it's going to start. And that's when Puff Daddy's, trial started. And then now look at the aliens that are coming out. It's like, this guy, I don't know if you knew something, but yeah, I mean, he predicted all of it. So kind of makes you wonder, man. I mean, it's like, are we living in our own, living our daily lives, or are we just a part of the big system that,
yeah,
the Matrix?
Yeah. Real quick before we go to the break, right? So Davis allegedly inside the Cadillac, he publicly said that he was sitting in the front passenger seat in the Cadillac that's involved in the Tupac killing, right? And so in the driver's seat is Terrence T. Brown. The passenger is Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. In the back seat is DeAndre Dre Smith. And also in the back seat is Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. So Dwayne Keefe D, in his memoirs and in some of these interviews, he puts himself at the scene of the crime. All these other people are no longer alive. The other three people, the driver, the two people in the back seat. And so Keefe D is the only one left.
Yeah, he actually put himself in the passenger seat.
Yes,
when
inside the murder vehicle.
When you look, the gunshot had to have come from either the driver or one of the passengers in the back.
Yeah.
Because that would be to their right, because the shots happen on the left side of the car where Tupac was at, in the passenger, right? And so, yeah. So, Yeah, I mean, that would be my defense. Well, I was there, yeah, but I didn't shoot. Yeah, I was in the passenger side. I would have, that bullet would have had to go, in front of the driver.
You're still going to get jail time, though.
Of course, yeah, but,
again, his defense saying not guilty and that I wasn't even in Vegas at the time. That's now the defense. The defense is like, no, all of that is exaggerating. All of that is for pure entertainment. I wasn't even in Vegas. And so in his memoir, Davis describes that Tupac and Suge Knight attacked his nephew Orlando Anderson. And so then the group went looking for Tupac and Suge, and he wrote that they had revenge on their minds. And so at the MGM fight itself, it's disputed because there's surveillance footage that also captured it, right? So prosecutors can combine the independence, the evidence of the fight with Davis, and then also attaching Davis in his own, in his own statements in his memoir, right?
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see.
But yeah, he's saying at this point he's now that he has all of that pressure on him, he's now deflecting. Said during a 2018 BET documentary, Death Row Chronicles, Davis describes being in front of the passenger seat and the gun going toward the back. When asked who actually fired, Davis said he avoided directly naming the shooter. However, it came from the back seat. And so who's in the back seat? Later in an interview attributed to Davis, he was considerably more explicit, saying Orlando rolled down the window and popped him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, kind of makes me think about that TLC song. Hanging on the passenger side. All my best friends ride.
Hey, also,
all scrubs.
He has a book that he co-authored in 2019 called Compton Street Legend, The Street Level Story of the Life of Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. And so it says that he was in Vegas, learned Orlando had been beaten, went looking for Tupac and Suge, found a gun, rode in the Cadillac, then passed the gun to the back seat, was present when Tupac was shot. And so,
wow.
He said the Cadillac and the gun were hidden, and the rental vehicle was eventually repaired, repainted before being returned. And so prosecutors are saying all of that information sounds like you have a whole...
Yeah. It was all premeditated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You planned this whole thing, and we found all of it.
Man. They went to Earl Shives?
I don't know. Yeah.
It was like $99 for a full-blown car painting.
Yeah. There's a lot, and so I'm curious. I mean, this is definitely probably gonna, people are gonna be watching the court case and following along, but also just people have their own theories.
Yeah.
Right. So in the court of public opinion, this dude is done.
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of the theories are coming out on social media. There's another case too, Lindsay Clancy. Are you familiar with her?
No.
That's something that I also kind of want to get into as well. And there are a lot of theories with the Lindsay Clancy. She's a Massachusetts mother accused of killing her 3 children back in January.
Gosh.
And that court case is happening right now as well. So we'll take the break.
Yeah.
2:38 in the afternoon. This is Wave 105. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Real conversations, real issues, real Guam. This is Wave 105, the talk of Guam.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Explore, snap, and share for a chance to win a round-trip ticket to Taiwan. Join the Guam photo hunt and visit iconic landmarks and hidden gems island-wide. The more locations you photograph, the more chances you have to win exciting prizes. Learn more and submit to win online at visitguam.com/photo hunt. Terms and conditions apply. Explore, snap, and rediscover Guam. Brought to you by the Guam Visitors Bureau.
Hagåtña, get ready! Something big is coming to your neighborhood. A brand new Cost You Less experience is almost here, bringing family fun, entertainment, and giveaways. Follow Cost You Less Guam on Facebook or Instagram for details. Something exciting is coming soon.
Anything's possible. I push to the limits. I climb every wall. I keep on believing. Anything's possible.
If there's one thing we've learned, it's never to underestimate the spirit and strength of the people of our island home. Which is why at Bank of Hawaii, you, your dreams, and your possibilities will always have a home. Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. Member FDIC.
Hafaday, Guam! The Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association invites you to the Fair Trade Show, Guam's premier hospitality and food service event. Join us August 19th and 20th at the Hyatt Regency Guam from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Experience hands-on training sessions and exciting culinary competitions featuring professionals, apprentices, and pastry talent. Discover new products, connect with suppliers, and celebrate Guam's hospitality industry. Don't miss Fair 2026. Visit ghra.org for details.
Begin. We are Guam. Wave 105 FM.
I'm sorry, I had to get it on, man.
Make sure it's clean.
Oh, of course, no, it's the instrumental.
I miss him too. I'm gonna be honest. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like he can tell a story like nobody else.
You know, when you look at his rap, right? Remember, you have to think about his mom, right? She was a Black Panther.
Yeah.
And when you look at the cadence of his rap, it's almost like Martin Luther King. I believe I have the dream. And then, you know, when you look at it, it's like, it was done to mom, right? You know, when he starts rapping, so the cadence is almost there. Like he's not rapping, he's more like preaching.
Yeah.
You know? And
we lost him and Biggie way too soon.
Oh man,
way too soon.
Man, and Biggie was just phenomenal.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, where he could take. I mean, they told stories, and when you look at the mumble rap that's going on, I'm like, man, I don't even understand what they're saying, and you know and they just put stuff like scared. I'm like, what are you saying, right? But you know, when you have lyricists, I mean, and it even goes back to Big Daddy Kane
and their IQ as well. They're so intelligent, right? I
Yeah.
mean, the creativity behind some of the stories that they're telling and rapping, you know.
And I mean, they took rap to a whole new level, right? I mean, when you look at the evolution of rap, right? It started out in the ghetto and, you know, hip hop in itself, right? I mean, all the way back to when I was born, 53 years ago, right? You know, with Kool Herc, you know, being a DJ, and then even just scratching with Grandmaster Flash. I mean, I was watching this thing about the history, and then who was the real Grandmaster, right? And how did the first rap song from Sugar Hill Gang came about? Those guys weren't really real, because most of the rappers, when they were approached by producers, they were like, no, we don't do that, man. We just do that at the clubs. I mean, you know, we don't put this on record. So this one lady who was a big time 70s, Sylvia something, she had a hit, and, you know, she was into the record business, and then she was like, all right, we need, you know, she went and she went to a club and she saw a bunch of guys rapping, and she was like, we need to put that on wax, right? And, put it on a record.
Mm-hmm.
All of them said no. So she was like, you know what, we're going to find somebody to do it, right? And so you had this one guy that worked at a pizza parlor that, everybody knew he rapped, but never took it to that level where he got in the club. And then she just basically handpicked this group and called them the Sugar Hill Gang. And next thing you know, whatchamacallit again, I got a hip, hop, hippity, hippity, all that stuff came out in 1978. And it went skyrocket. I mean, even the beat that they were using from Niles Rodgers, right? Because that was Good Times. Boom, 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 right? That bass line. So they hired a studio band and they just copied the whole thing and they rapped on it. But a lot of the real rappers were saying, man, those guys aren't real. But they were the first to do it. And then everybody came out. Kumo D. Who else? Big Daddy Kane, all these guys. Like if you watch Beat Street, it came out in 83. That was a couple of years ago. That was the first breakdance popping movie. It came out like 83, 84. Right?
Okay.
And so some of the original rappers, right, they were there. And then you have people like Curtis Blow, Run DMC came about, and then Run DMC was the first one that actually took it to a whole new level. But even, what's his name? The Def Jam founder.
Suge Knight?
No. Not
Oh, Def Jam.
Def
That's
Jam.
Jermaine Dupri?
No. Before Jay-Z. This is Ron from Run DMC, his own brother.
Oh, Def Jams.
Yeah, Def Jam's from New York and everything.
Russell Simmons.
Russell Simmons. There we go. Yeah. So he decided, you know what? I'm gonna make my own record company, and do it. And you would think that Def Jam would take in his brother, but no, it was Profile Records. It's like, no, we got to spread this out. But people like the BC Boys, those guys, EPMD, man. My childhood is coming back now. I'm gonna see if I can find a lot of these musics and everything. But yeah, no, I mean. The history of rap is already about half a century already old. It started like in the 60s. Late 60s, early 70s, right? And then they just took it. But I was watching this thing back in, who had the first rap song, and somebody posted this thing where it was a group. I forgot who the group was, but they actually recorded these guys in like late 1930s, right before the war.
Okay.
And they were like, they had a beat and they were like da 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 da, right? And I'm like, man, this is the first rap song. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is it. But they were doing it, and it was almost like, back then when you still had Jim Crow laws and everything and all that, they were just rapping about their daily life on the field and everything. And so they rhymed and, they just wanted to uplift themselves because, of course,
take their mind off
of all the stuff, right? The slavery and whatnot. And so, the injustice of that, that they were getting, and so they were always that happy-go-lucky type people, and then it just translated into rap and everything. But, and then you have all those people, what do you call it? When you go to the auctions and everything, you see, so it derived from that too.
Oh, the auctioneers?
Yeah, the auctioneers. And
everything. That takes talent.
Yeah, it's like 25,
Yeah.
25. Sold, right? So they kind of
Do
like
I hear
put
35,
it all
35 over here? Do I hear 40?
Yeah.
40 over here.
Yeah.
And then they have all of these other slogans and whatnot that they throw in there to be a little bit more creative and unique and stand out, right? It becomes an art.
Yeah. And then, the MC part too as well. On radio, that's, they had this one guy early on in the whole culture of hip-hop, right? He was the guy that people were listening to on the radio, and he would come in and do some MC work and everything. But everybody copied his style because he was like out and about. Before it was just, you didn't have any rappers, but you had the hype man, right? That would get on the mic and start hyping everybody up while they're on the dance floor. So that came about, from a guy from radio. So, man, when you just look at the history of it, And don't even start with sampling, because that's my thing right there. Which probably I'm going to get something on bongos.
The other high-profile case I was talking about earlier before we went to the break was the case of Lindsay Clancy in Massachusetts, right? So she's accused of killing her 3 young children back in January of 2023. And so both sides agree that it's Clancy who caused the death of her 3 children. And so the case or the trial is mostly about, is she legally responsible for her actions at the time, or is it because of her severe mental illness that made her commit this heinous act, right? And so her children, she has a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and an 8-month-old. And so after her 8-month-old, Clancy began experiencing serious mental health problems. Her medical history leading up to the deaths has become extremely important to this trial because she reported problems including anxiety, depression, and severe insomnia, and also received psychiatric treatment and multiple medications. Her defense is saying that she suffers from postpartum psychosis and bipolar disorder. And prosecutors dispute that these made her legally insane. And so one issue for the jury is doctors who treated her have testified that she did not tell them that she wanted to commit suicide or anyone else before the killings. And so when she was hospitalized prior to, Clancy voluntarily entered a psychiatric hospital, and then she was discharged several days later. And so that's the part that they are scrutinizing, because the defense argues that her psychiatric treatment and medications failed to properly address what was happening to her. And so just one day before the children's deaths, Clancy had a virtual psychiatric appointment. The psychiatrist has testified that she appeared depressed but didn't report the suicidal or homicidal thoughts. And then the next day, she killed her children. And so prosecutors are saying that Clancy asked her husband, Patrick, to leave their home to pick up food and get her medication. While Patrick was gone, allegedly, Clancy strangled the 3 children with exercise bands. She then injured herself and then jumped from a 2nd-story window. She injured herself by slicing her wrist. Yeah. Patrick returned home and discovered all of that. But here's where things get crazy, right? Because there are so many theories out there, and it's happening on social media. Social media, especially on TikTok, has a huge following, and even Reddit. Reddit is super toxic, extremely toxic. And so there are Reddit threads and TikTok videos that talk about how it's the husband that orchestrated the whole thing.
Wow.
That even emailed himself pretending to be the wife, because he now is married with a child on the way. And so they're like, oh, nothing's worse than a man that wants a new life. And so the theories are running wild now on social media as this case is unfolding. What I was able to watch, though, is how he talked about how amazing his wife is and how much of a loving mother she is. And she just needs the help. And so right now he's not on trial, but it is, it's crazy how these stories can have a life of its own, and people can take off with their own theories and their own like armchair lawyers and like, I'm gonna solve this crime. Sometimes they do get solved though on these podcasts. It's crazy too. There's another video. There's another documentary that's out there. This one's pretty wild as well. It's on Netflix, where this guy and this girl hook up. I forgot the name of this documentary. It's on Netflix. You could probably find it, but it's like this federal, I think he's a U.S. Marshal, right? And he hooks up with this girl. They're dating for a while. They buy their own apartment together. And then she starts to realize, like, he's a little nutso, or like he's too protective. Like, I can't even go to the store without him tracking me. And so she runs away when she thinks it's safe to do so. Obviously, he chases after her, and he won't leave her alone.
Oh gosh!
But she just wants to be left alone. Finally, things don't work out, or enough time goes by where he finds somebody else, and then for whatever reason, this guy is so demented in the head. He starts to pretend that he's his ex-girlfriend, threatening his new girlfriend, his new fiance.
Wow.
And he has gaslit his own fiance, thinking that his ex-girlfriend's crazy and is wanting to have her killed.
Oh gosh.
Going on like Craigslist and saying, I want you to come over to my house and I want you to assault me. And if I scream and tell you to stop, don't.
I actually
and they have those things on Craigslist because a guy entertained it.
No, a
guy actually responded to this Craigslist and said, I'll be that guy. What is going on here?
No, I actually know of a similar story closer to home. I have a
better not. Is it here in Guam?
Yeah.
Because I was about to just say,
yeah.
You think our problems are bad?
Yeah.
The craziness that's happening out there.
And I don't want to say too much because but one of my friends had a husband, and this guy was just. You can't leave me. I'm the man, right? And so he did everything to destroy her reputation and everything. And,
gosh.
And pretty much gaslight even everyone. And everybody thought that that she was the horrible person here. And I'm like, look, the truth will come out. Don't even worry about it. And rightfully so. Now she's
Karma,
enjoying
right?
life. Yeah. Especially here in Guam when it's close to home and it's like that. But this guy made my friend really look horrible, destroyed her reputation, and now she's living life, and enjoying life pretty much. But yeah, those few years were really trying for her, because it's one thing to like, man, you guys are believing all these lies.
Yeah.
And it pitted a lot of her friends against her. Like, I can't believe you did that. And it was like, I didn't do anything. This guy's just making me sound horrible.
This marshal, he gaslit the whole like LAPD, the Orange County. They lived not too far from Disneyland even.
Oh man.
So he gaslit, he manipulated the police department. So his ex-girlfriend ended up being successfully suing the police department for all of the having to go through all of that, because she was charged with threatening to assault or orchestrate the assault on his fiance at the time. His fiance went to jail for all of it, because they finally figured out, oh no, it was actually the fiance that did that because she's crazy and she wanted the ex-girlfriend out of the picture. And it all turns out it wasn't any of these two women. It was the guy himself that gaslit both those women,
such a narcissist,
and the police department. And that's when the Department of Justice came in because he's a U.S. Marshal.
Yeah.
So they started to investigate, do like an internal investigation.
They fired the guy.
He's in jail.
Yes.
He's in jail. So there's some good news there for sure. Because that guy is an absolute monster.
So Justice is no longer blind because she lifted up the blindfold?
Well, when the Department of Justice got involved, they started looking at some of the body cam footage from the Orange County Police. And they're like, we see some things happening here. This guy is showing his badge. He's, presenting himself as somebody that he can be trusted, but he's manipulating the entire scene, right? Taking control and already putting all of these things in the police officers' minds before they can investigate independently. And so it's a crazy documentary that people just need to watch for themselves and see how this. I don't know. I'll look it up while we're at the break, but it just came out.
Crazy Marshall guy.
Yeah, I think so. I think you'll be able to find it. If you just Google crazy gaslighting Marshall.
Narcissistic.
I'm pretty
Marshall
sure it's
guy.
going to come up. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. I'll look for it. Netflix, right?
But yeah, I mean, it just brought me to that because I think people watch that Netflix and then they're watching this show. I mean, not this show, this court case in Massachusetts, and they're starting to connect dots that might not even, there is no connection.
Yeah.
Right? But people have already made up their mind. So TikTok has a whole following where they have already pinned it on the husband.
So
because they're like, how dare you move on so fast?
We get it here, right? When the legislature introduces a bill or when they're in session, everybody becomes a lawyer overnight, and this bill, and I'm like, oh, come on, man, and when they start citing laws, and I'm like, okay, dude, all right, okay, ma'am, all right. Obviously, you guys know better, and to their credit, some of them do, but when a majority of everybody on the comment thread, start putting their opinions on, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. If all of this is if everything you're saying, I mean, we need more good people, right, to run for senator. Join, don't just talk, walk, right?
Sure. But, this is a talk show, so, I mean, I welcome all the opinions. Bring them. Bring your opinions here.
No, I get it, but just reading the comments, and sometimes they're good. Sometimes
on
they're
social
point,
media.
On social media.
Yeah.
I just don't like the idea that everybody becomes a lawyer overnight and everything. I'm like, okay, all right. My thing is I read it, and I'll wait for the outcome. I don't read the comments because sometimes they really get.
Well, unfortunately, people just read the headline too, or the first sentence, and not actually the entire story, the meat of the story.
And that's human nature.
Or have been following along.
Yeah, that's human nature. They only read the headlines. They could care less about the details, right? So. But yeah, well.
We'll take the break. On the other side, I'm hoping to have a conversation with our friends from the Department of Labor.
Yes.
On the in-school youth year-round program. And so the applications are going to be open August 24th, and they put out a release basically giving high school student job skills and actual work experience before they graduate.
Nice.
So we should be hearing from Dave De La Sola, the director of GDOL, or the PIO, Janella Carrera, on the other side of these. So we'll get your AP News in just, we got it queued up. Yes, KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. In Colombia, at least 111 people are known to have been killed as rescue teams dig through the rubble of collapsed buildings in the country's third largest city, Cali, after a 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck. Barbara Mello with World Vision spoke to Sky News from Bogota.
Right now, the main needs is to know what's happening, how can we help, and how to protect the families, especially the children that are the most needed right now, and the ones that lost their parents or they are looking for them.
Canada's put its military on standby as wildfires burn uncontrolled in British Columbia, where some 20,000 people have been forced to flee their homes. President Trump's pushing for the spacing out of childhood vaccines. Jennifer King reports that runs contrary to the guidance of medical groups.
At the White House, President Trump signed an executive order revamping recommendations for childhood vaccines.
You have the MMR. We want it in 3 separate vaccinations, given at separate times.
The order will advise states to consider updating their school vaccine mandates to reflect the administration's recommendations, although separate measles, mumps, and rubella vaccines are not currently available in the United States. Public health experts have raised concerns that spacing out shots will lead to an increased risk for children who could be infected with a preventable disease before returning for another visit. The president has also been fixated on connecting autism to vaccines, despite a lack of scientific evidence. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says research to identify the cause of autism is underway.
We will bring you actions and findings as soon as they are ready.
I'm Jennifer King.
President Trump scoffing at Iran's demands that the U.S. pay for the devastation caused by 5 months of war. Tehran insists reopening of the Strait of Hormuz is tied to reparations. Oil prices jumped again Monday. Brent crude up 5%. This is AP News. Something for skywatchers this week.
Viewing conditions are promising for the Perseid meteor shower peaking Wednesday night, with a new moon preventing moonlight from spoiling the show, says astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Moonlight dramatically reduces how many meteors you can see. The dim ones just are completely washed out by moonlight. So on that day, it's been called by some the stargazers' heaven.
About 50 to 100 meteors per hour may be visible under ideal conditions.
Because it's summertime, people just hang out on the beach like all night. And so that works. There's some meteor showers in the winter. No one is going to hang out on the beach after midnight. So that's what makes the Perseid meteor shower perhaps the most remembered and the most celebrated.
Meteor showers happen when Earth plows through trails of debris left by comets or asteroids. The Perseids come from Comet Swift-Tuttle. I'm Julie Walker.
More stories at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
KGUM FM, Deddyville. Powered by Glimpses Media.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Tourism, it's our #1 industry. As Guam's largest employer, tourism supports more than 50,000 jobs. In fact, 1 out of every 5 jobs is tourism related. Annually, tourism generates over $163 million in tax revenue. Without it, every household would pay an additional $3,700 per year. From real estate to retail, tourism has a positive impact on every industry, helping make Guam a better place to live, work, and visit. Support tourism. Brought to you by the Guam Visitors Bureau, celebrating over 55 years of tourism.
Half a day, I'm Callan Perez and I'm running for senator. Service to our island has shaped my life, from community advocacy and substance abuse recovery to supporting sustainable agriculture. Inspired by my parents, Dr. Perez and Dr. Erickson, I remain committed to serving the people of Guam. I'm Callan Perez and I approve this message.
Hagåtña, get ready. Something big is coming to your neighborhood. A brand new Cost-U-Less experience is almost here, bringing family fun, entertainment, and giveaways. Follow Cost-U-Less Guam on Facebook or Instagram for details. Something exciting is coming soon.
With decades experience in Guam and the region, Take Care members have access to the largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. Membership also includes the high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers and the one-stop FHB Health Center and urgent care. Ask for Take Care. Call 671-647-3526. Go to takecareasia.com for more information. Take care. Our Island, your health plan.
The Edge of Heaven, Friday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. introduces you to the fifth dimension, where you find a greater appreciation for everything in your life. Find more consciousness of the bigger picture. Bring yourself more power, along with the intuition on how to guide that power, bringing you to a place of independent contentment. Give you the key to overcome sorrow, always encouraging honesty and self-acceptance, revealing that everything you seek outside yourself is right inside. Your limited identification will dissolve, and it will expand into a greater field of awareness. You will realize and remember that it is all God, even when it doesn't feel like God. Every Friday evening from 6 to 8 on Wave 105, join Rand and Jenny Kaufman for The Edge of Heaven, sponsored by Jay Goodman and Osmujao Community School.
KGUM-FM, Dedido, the talk of Guam. This is Wave 105.1 FM, a Glimpses Media radio station.
To the show, 3:08 in the afternoon. Here's the number, 671-922-1051 or 2. Let's send it back to Mr. Pauly Suba.
We do want to thank our sponsors, and that's GTA. We start with you. Chili's Grill and Bar. Chili's, more life, great food and memories happen here. Micropack, don't miss a memory. Get your travel cameras and storage essentials at Micropack today. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. And Triple J. It's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail. Drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first, 671-922-1051 or 1052. We should be getting a call from Mr. Dave Delasola, the Director of Guam Department of Labor, in just a bit. That should be him coming on. So, again, we do want to have the conversation with him and learn more about this program that I'm familiar with. It's the In-School Youth Year-Round Program for 2026 and 2027. And so, Dave's on now. All right. Holiday Director, thanks for the opportunity to learn more about the program that you have been going on. This isn't a new program, right? This is the program that I'm very familiar with, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the In-School Youth Year-Round Program that we've been doing for a while.
Yes.
And it's recruitment time starting yesterday through the end of September. So we're trying to get some of these young juniors that are in high school that meet income levels or have skills deficient, but that's because we're using federal funds.
Right.
So they have requirements, but this is a great program, and this is a program for, like you said, for juniors and seniors. We try to develop them into interest of where they want to do or what they want to be. So we have basically two components to this. Let me make a correction. The program starts on the 24th of this month, so I think it got pushed a little bit. But,
the application's open, right, on August 24th, yes. And then the deadline is September 30.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, and for juniors, and because we want to put them in 2 years of this program. And basically, in a nutshell, there's a winter and spring session. The winter is 2 weeks, and the spring is 1 week, and it's a paid session where we try to teach them professional development and customer service and some leadership skills and professional development. Basically, we're teaching them, preparing them for work.
That's why it's so exciting. It's because, I mean,
Yes.
when you look at the election season, right, the question that comes up to these candidates are, how do you plan on developing the next workforce? I mean, this is a program that does that.
Yes, and it goes right into the school. And the student tells us what they're interested in.
Right.
So we have kids in the hotels, we have them in the car dealerships and restaurants, and in the market, in the Payless markets, and accountants. Wherever they're interested in, we try to place them in that field, and we prepare them. We give them job skills. We teach them how to prepare so when they start work, they're not going in blind. And we work with them for the 2 years. And to be honest with you, we had a dozen of our graduating seniors and that were 2 years in the program start at some of these hotels and dealerships and restaurants. They went right into a paid job. So this is also an alternative to college. They can go right into work, into the business that they've been, participating with. So, and this kind of goes hand in hand with, I'm sure you heard that we landed at $600,000 per year.
Yes.
For 3 years. That's $1.8 million apprenticeship program, a grant. And we're looking at expanding pre-apprenticeship in the high schools and trying to get these kids who may not be interested in college and they might want to learn a trade or they might want to learn go in a career path, that we can put them into a pre-apprenticeship, give them a taste of it, give them an idea what it's like, and then we can get less dropouts if they decide, okay, I like this trade or this job, and I want to continue getting a certified apprenticeship degree, a certificate that's recognized, and we can put them straight into work. They can go into our GRAT program, which is the Guam Registered Apprenticeship Program.
Right.
So, what I've always been saying is that there are lots of jobs out there. You can drive, you look at any business, there's always hire signs. And if you want a job, there's plenty of jobs. I'm trying to help our youth and our people get into careers, something that they can make a living, something that they can build a family with, and something that they can, be proud of. And I think that's the best place to invest our dollars, is helping our kids,
right.
Get a career path.
Right. And so understanding that the application opens August 24th and the deadline is September 30th, this is to get into the 2-week winter training session and then the 1-week spring session.
This is a sign into the 2-year program.
Into the 2-year program. And so do you meet with these applicants before the winter session starts, or is that the first time you...
No.
Okay.
When they're selected, we work with the schools and we get their applications and we qualify them, and then we start meeting with them.
Okay.
And then, they go into, we set up these training program, work sessions, and we start talking to these students to find out where their interest is,
right?
What kind of jobs they want, what kind of career they're looking for, and then we try to find a private sector business to match it with.
Interesting.
So, if they are interested in hotels or, in customer service or marketing or whatever it is, we have hotels that we can put them in, such as the Dusatani. They had a great program. We have the Hyatts, we have the Nikos, so there's hotels that are more than willing to help bring up these students, train them, and, they're looking to recruit these kids.
For sure.
And these young adults. They need, the ground-up training, and there's a lot of successful managers and stuff that started right in the ground floor,
Yeah, that's great.
And to build a career out of that.
Do the companies have to...
That's why we are a little different.
Yeah.
Because we are trying to put it into their interest, their field of interest.
Do the companies have to register to participate in the program?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
that's what we do. We align that. That's a separate. We have our business unit that goes out to these businesses and recruit them, ask them if they are interested in working with these kids and training them, and so they don't going in there blind.
Okay.
The businesses are fully prepared, and we try to train them up. We do the best we can to get these kids. And like I said, they're most of the time like hotels and these car dealerships, wherever they're at, they're ready and willing. We prepare the kids, so they're prepared from both sides. And like I said, they get a taste of it. They try it out.
Yeah.
If they don't like that particular business or whatever it is that they tried, then we're going to try to adjust them in their senior year. But our hope is that they end up working for that company for 2 summers.
For sure.
And they build a relationship. And like I said, hopefully they if they don't want to go to post-secondary schools or whatever, they'll hire them right then and there.
You've
And
already
that's what
identified
this whole
these.
program is.
You've already identified these companies?
We have
or are you
some
looking
of these
for
companies
more?
that are already on our list.
Yeah.
If there are other interests, if there's somebody that wanted to go into a particular field, whether whatever it is, we will go and look for those type of businesses and try to recruit them into our fold, so that we can get those students.
Yeah. Because
there.
I'm just thinking out loud, like, man, if any of your students are interested in radio.
Believe me, I can't believe, because the radio is not just talking on the you got to work your instrument. You got you got to do with the digital age. You're doing a lot more.
There's more
than what
to
you
it.
used
Yes.
to do 20 years ago.
Yeah. There's journalism involved in all of that. Communications, which I saw is something that students will receive training in communications through your program.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we can make those adjustments. And like I said, we can even with some of this 600,000 that I got, put them into maybe GCC and apprenticeship programs, so that they can get some little bit of training on whatever their field of interest is, whether it's being in a hotel, or whether they want to be a chef or something, or work at restaurants, or sell cars, or be an accountant, or survey, or work at the pet stores, or vet place. There's so many different types of places that these kids, and we're trying to be as flexible as possible, because we'll have the best success if we place them in some place where they're interested in. It's pretty simple formula.
I love the program because what happens too is after they graduate, that's not just, all right, thanks for coming, thanks for participating. You stay connected with them, and then you have another program that they can just walk right into.
We try to get them as early as possible in order to get that success, that career path started.
Yeah.
And yes, because if they go graduate, we can put them in our apprenticeship program. We got working. We have on-the-job training programs.
Yeah.
There are so many different programs that we have, and that puts these kids in the career path that starts them off early. So when they're ready to have a family or whatever, they've already have several years in on a business, and they can afford that, and they're less burden to our society, and they have more successes. And like I said, I think that is a good goal to have here at Department of Labor, and this administration has always seen for us to go towards that direction. Career path, earn and learn. That way people can. It's tough to just go to training and not earn money.
Right.
And we've realized that was one of the biggest barriers, is that they, and our apprenticeship program and our GRAP program, they earn and they learn at the same time. It's not easy, but hopefully it's in a career path that they enjoy, so that makes it easier. And while they're younger, they have less, burdens to families and this and responsibilities. and that makes it easier for them to able to successfully complete the programs.
I get it, because you're not just uplifting the individual; you're uplifting an entire family.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the family, that's one less, worry, because, we all worry about what our kids are going to do. And nowadays, you get into a trade, you're making some good money.
Yes.
You're making some serious money.
I know. I've
and
seen
we
the
all
bill.
need HVACs, plumbers, electricians, whatever it is. And that's where a lot of our kids gravitate towards. They like the inside jobs. They like the jobs that are higher up in the trade ladder. And, if you can't make a living doing HVAC here, then, where are you going to make it, in that kind of field?
So I know that there's an eligibility requirement. Can we go through that quickly?
Yes. Yeah, so because of these are federal funds,
right?
There is a living standard income level. There's a income level that the family has to meet, and they can have basic skill deficiencies. So maybe English is a second language. Maybe the youth had some problems and is homeless, or is in foster care, or has a disability. Or there's so many. There's a whole list of things that basic skills deficient. So we are getting these youths that have a little bit more of a barrier.
Understood.
And we're trying to give them the services, give them the support, and mentoring services to help them start to get the that career path where they start to succeed, instead of always seeing failure around them.
That's wonderful, because you're breaking a cycle sometimes within a family, right? Generational cycles where they almost can't seem to escape poverty.
Yes, and it's not easy.
Right.
But, I think that's a better place for our investment.
Right.
That's where our where we should work, hard with. Because these other kids, that come from well-to-do families have, I have other programs. We can put them in apprenticeship programs. That's not income-based or anything like that. But when I'm using the limited federal funds that I have, they come with a lot of strings attached.
Understood.
That's okay, because there are plenty of other dollars or programs that we can put the kids without those kind of barriers.
Nice. Well, I really appreciate the conversation and getting to better understand. I've been following along this program for at least 2 years now, and so it's great to always see that it comes up, right? The application process, but then knowing that you've got winter training, and then spring, and then around summertime they get to work at these companies, right? And they receive their stipends.
And they get these paychecks.
Yes.
But I want to stress, even during these training sessions, in the summer and winter, they're being paid.
Okay.
So it's not like we're telling you to come and work and learn for free or whatever, So at least you have something. And I can't say it enough. To all these parents out there who have these, have a kid that's not sure what they want to do, come down and see if we can qualify them.
There you go.
Just don't say, oh, I can't qualify them, or they don't qualify, and not do it. We work with the schools, we work with the counselors, and we try to, we can use more kids.
Right.
So far, we haven't maxed out. And we do the best that we can. We're not flawless, we're not perfect, but we are willing to try, roll up our sleeves, and work to do the best that we can to put these kids in a place where they're interested in. And if they're not, that's fine. I mean, that's the time to learn it when you're a kid.
Right.
I didn't know what I was going to do when I was in high school. Right. And I started college. I was in a different career path, than where I ended up. So it's all the time to start learning, and at least you're going to learn and earn, right?
Right. So, understanding that it's August 11th, when the application timeline opens up between August 24th and September 30, can they just find the application online, or do they call the number that's available on the release?
You can call us, or or email us. But, call us up at 475-7000.
Got it.
You can apply online. Call us at the AJC and we'll get it to you.
Got it.
Because if I tell you online,
Right.
you're not going to remember it. I never remember these things when I'm driving or something like that. So the AJC, the American Job Center at the GCIC, you can just call DOL, Guam Department of Labor, and just say that what you're interested in, the year-round school program, and we will make sure that somebody gets you all the information you need to make that decision. You should be able to go to your counselor and your counselor at your high school and say that you're interested in Department of Labor, in-school youth year-round programs. Any of those catchphrases should bring up the terms. And please come in, get signed up. Even if you're not sure you qualify, we'll sit down and we'll try to see if we can make it fit for you.
There you go. Yeah, that's good to know. I mean, school just started, right? And so...
Yes.
Yeah.
And, so you got plenty of time.
Right.
Got plenty of time. And I appreciate you giving us a few minutes to get that word out.
Is there anything I might have missed?
No, I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Put your kids to work.
Right.
Let them, teach them some job skills.
Yes.
We've got a whole program together. It's proven. It's been in place for a couple of years. It's always improving.
Yes.
Because I'm always learning more and more things, and we're trying to make it better. So the more kids that participate in different fields and in different companies, the bigger our list of companies that are grow, and we can get more kids into that. And I haven't forgotten radio.
There you go. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it so much.
All right.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, Pauly.
And so have a great rest of the week.
You too.
Okay.
You have a good one, Pauly.
Take care. That's Director Dave De La Sola with the Guam Department of Labor. Again, talking to us about the in-school youth year-round program, providing eligible high school students with academic support, career exploration, work experience opportunities, and guidance and planning for education or employment after high school. The program is designed to help youth develop the skills, credentials, and work readiness needed to succeed in the labor market. Want more information? Like Director said, 671-475-7000. That's 475-7000 or 7001. I have this email, and what I'm going to do is like Dave said, it's going to be hard to remember. So I'll pull the email and the phone number, and I'll put that in our YouTube link so you can just copy and paste and make it easier for yourself. 3:31 in the afternoon, time to transition. There you go. And that sound tells us it's time to look at the roads. It's wet out there. I could hear the rain falling on our rooftop here. So you definitely want to be safe out there. When I hear the rain, it's low visibility, I imagine, right? And so some of these lights, like the one, I don't know, I have to go look outside the window. But at one point, when I came into work this morning, the light was blinking. Was it blinking for you when you came in?
No.
Oh, so it's operating properly.
But on the way, I was on the Manila route. Was it Route 10?
Okay.
And I saw some GPA crews working on actual street lights. So that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Get those street lights that were damaged by the typhoon. So yeah, they were there.
And let us know if there is if roads are being blocked off right around the Barragata post office. Media is reporting that could be possible, but we don't have an update yet from GPD if that's happening, right? Did you come from the post office side?
I did, but no, I didn't.
You were able to drive right through?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's an issue. Let me just look real quick on Route 8 and see if my handy dandy Glimpses radio app is showing any of that. Let's go Route 8 here. No, it doesn't look like it's. I'm sorry, Route 16 by the post office. I don't see the congestion. So
Not
if
at
you
all,
do,
yeah.
let us know. I am looking at heavy congestion on Route 1 already, heading northbound towards the ITC intersection. And that goes as far back as like the Alupang turn. And then Governor Carlos Camacho intersection. There's some delays there. Mild delays in the capital too, between Route 4 and Route 1. But Route 8 and Route 16 look decent. Obviously, Antolon Middle School just got out, and so always be aware as you pass Antolon, especially at this time, as that bell just rung for the end of school. Right, it's right along Route 10. Once again, helping you move forward on this Tuesday afternoon. It's Guam Auto Spot. Call them up, 478-AUTO. View their inventory on their website, guamautospot.com.
Our critically injured veterans and first responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's why Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs tailored to fit their needs, to ensure they're rejoining their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors. Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who've served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford. Customers first.
Tourism, it's our #1 industry. As Guam's largest employer, tourism supports more than 50,000 jobs. In fact, 1 out of every 5 jobs is tourism-related. Annually, tourism generates over $163 million in tax revenue. Without it, every household would pay an additional $3,700 per year. From real estate to retail, tourism has a positive impact on every industry, helping make Guam a better place to live, work, and visit. Support tourism. Brought to you by the Guam Visitors Bureau, celebrating over 55 years of tourism.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Ever dreamed of being on the radio? Now's your chance. Glimpses of Guam is looking for the next generation of on-air personalities to join our family on Wave 105. If you've got personality, creativity, and a passion for entertaining, we want to hear from you. No matter your experience level, this could be your opportunity to be heard across the airwaves. Send your resume and a short demo to jobs@glimpsesofguam.com and start your broadcasting journey today. Join the Glimpses of Guam radio team. Your voice belongs on the air on Wave 105.
Feeling good, getting things done. Wave 105 FM.
Show, actually. Here's the numbers: 671-922-1051 or 2. It's Wave 105, the bright side with Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
Yeah, even though it's not so bright outside, it is inside with us here on the bright side. Thanks
even though it's raining again.
Yeah, 671-922-1051 or 1052. We are online, thewave105.com, as well as our YouTube channel, Wave 105.1 FM Guam. Also, the Glimpses radio app. Check that one out if you haven't already downloaded that app. It's absolutely free. You've got us, Wave 105, the talk of Guam, Power 98, Elevate Your Radio, and Route 99, all country music, right? Mm-hmm. So this is, I got this statement from Landon Idlet It's the Guam Regional Weather Outlook for this week. And so the good news is we're not currently facing any direct tropical storm or typhoon threats. However, there is that monsoon pattern that is expected to stick around through the weekend. And so we are going to be experiencing more periods of showers, a few isolated thunderstorms, some sunshine mixed in, breezy southwest to west winds, rougher ocean conditions, especially farther north. So it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get nonstop rain. Think sun, then showers, then sun again. And so with occasional heavier weather. There are two disturbances being watched, though. You've got Invest 91W. That's about northwest of the Marianas.
Okay.
This one's closer to our region, but the National Weather Service says it does not pose a direct threat to the Marianas right now. The chance of it developing is considered low. However, it could strengthen somewhat over the next day or two as it moves away. The bigger effect for us, though, is 91W, which will help strengthen that monsoon flow. So, and it's going to affect the CNMI even more so. So you've got Saipan and then the islands north of Saipan that could be seeing more showers and stronger southwest winds. Now, there's the Invest 90W. That's near the northern Marshall Islands. This is farther east and has a very low chance of developing. But the National Weather Service is watching it because it's expected to move slowly westward. As it does, it could bring more rain into Micronesia later this week and then into next week. And so they even give us an update on Tropical Storm Pauly. It's moving away. It's now well north of the Marianas and leaving the National Weather Service Guam's area of responsibility. National Weather Service has issued its final advisory on Tropical Storm Pauly. So we should be watching. There's the bigger concerns right now are the ocean conditions rather than the tropical cyclone. There is a high surf advisory that's in effect along with rip currents, right? And so this really means that we're going to be experiencing some dangerous surf and strong rip currents, even though there isn't a storm directly hitting Guam, right? So, again, that's the latest from the National Weather Service. There's a release here from Landon as well regarding lightning safety. And he says, during last week's monsoon surge across the Marianas, Guam and the CNMI experienced periods of showers, locally heavy rainfall and thunderstorms. We saw frequent lightning across Guam on Thursday for several hours. Keep lightning safety in mind for your outdoor plans when heavy weather is present. Something as simple as running from your parked car to a store or from your house to the car in the driveway can put you at risk of being struck if a thunderstorm is overhead or nearby. The National Weather Service has a popular catchphrase. Even in parentheses, he goes, one of several. And so one of the catchphrases are, when thunder roars, go indoors. If you hear thunder, you are at risk of being struck by lightning. Remain in safe shelter, a hard enclosed building, not a tent, canopy, or tarp, or even under a tree until the lightning threat has passed. For more lightning safety, go to NWS Lightning Safety. Actually, I have to click on it so it's weather.gov/safety/lightning if you want more information there. But yeah, that's the latest. That's the outlook from Landon, and he's not. I mean, it's very serious when we talk about weather conditions and the ocean conditions too. And just because we don't have a tropical storm looming, and it could look, the weather could look decent. Like, hey, this is a nice day for the beach. And I only say this from experience too. And I don't like talking about it because it just brings back the worst day of my life. So all I can tell you is that the ocean is unforgiving. And so we know of families that are experiencing this right now. We're still looking for, I'm going to pull from the Guam Fire Department. And let me just put the picture up too, because I've been told from the Guam Fire Department that they have now identified the swimmer, the missing swimmer, as 28-year-old Nico Camacho. And so at the request of the mother and of his mother and family, they're releasing the name and photo of Nico Camacho. So I'm just going to put it up. Let me find it on my WhatsApp here from Captain Garrido. So this is Nico. This is Nico Camacho. His mother and family are also asking for the public's continued assistance as search efforts remain ongoing. GFD rescue personnel, in coordination with the Coast Guard and GPD, continue joint search efforts in and around the Gun Beach area. GFD rescue operations remain concentrated around Nico's last known location and surrounding waters and include surface water searches, dive operations, and aerial drone searches as conditions permit. Additionally, GFD personnel are conducting shoreline searches extending from the search area north toward Two Lovers Point, expanding efforts along the surrounding coastline. Search crews continue to contend with challenging water conditions and limited underwater visibility. Nico's family and all partners involved are asking boaters, fishermen, beachgoers, and anyone along the surrounding coastline to remain vigilant. Anyone who observes anything that may assist with the search is asked to immediately contact 911. Let me try to get this to be less... Sorry, the camera is like focused on me, and so Nico's face is being blurred, but this is Nico. Right? We're such a small community. And it's heartbreaking when we have to share the news of this, right? And so that's the update again from Guam Fire Department and also from his family. Let me see here. So when we look at the National Weather Service and what they're reporting to, there's so much activity that's going on around this area, right? Tropical Storm Palu exiting now the National Weather Service Guam area. Tropical Storm Chanhom north of the National Weather Service Guam area. Tropical Depression 15W, that's north of NWS Guam area and northwest of Wake Island. Tropical Disturbance Invest 90W, northern RMI tracking westward. They're going to watch this in the coming weeks as it is forecast to head west across the FSM. Then you have Tropical Disturbance Invest 91W, that's northwest of Saipan, likely tracking northeast or east-northeast, and that's causing the monsoon to persist across the Marianas. Sea and surf advisories persist across the Marianas. There are drier patterns that are prevailing across Yap and Palau. An unsettled pattern prevails across Chuk, Pohnpei, Kozrai, and Margero. And so there's a lot of activity that is happening all over this region, right? And so it just makes for the worst conditions. Because, again, from experience, even on the most clearest day and the smoothest of waters, it could just end up very tough for you. Let me see here. Speaking of waters, though, I've been tracking something from Puerto Rico, where there's a drought that's happening in Puerto Rico.
I think they're also having some power problems too.
Power problems?
Yeah, and water problems.
Extreme water problems is what I've been seeing lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's not getting any better. They're having to conserve water for 48 hours. Well, not even conserve. They can't use water. There's like water outages for 48 hours. And so I'm pulling from the Rio Times to just get more information from the source, from a news outlet in Puerto Rico, right? And so Puerto Rico water rationing is now a daily reality for more than 180,000 customers across San Juan and 6 neighboring municipalities. The water utility flipped the switch on August 7th, 8th, imposing a strict 48 hours on, 48 hours off rotation that officials say will last at least through the end of the month. It's because of the drought in Puerto Rico. If you live in or visit the capital area, your taps will run dry for 2 full days at a stretch. Plan around the schedule, stock up wisely, and know that this could stretch further. Roughly 500,000 people are caught in the rotation, and the underlying causes, a brutal drought and crumbling pipe network, showing no signs of easing. So talk about infrastructure, right? When we're talking about some of the issues that we're facing, and I was able to go to Puerto Rico and see for myself, they have rolling blackouts. They've been having ongoing power outages. I've never experienced water outages, but I was able to see some footage too of just entire communities going to the water buffaloes and filling up, just whatever they could, all kinds of water containers, and taking it home, having to deal with that for 2 straight days and not knowing if hopefully this ends by the end of the month. I mean, talk about pressure when it comes to your leaders. You better figure this out ASAP.
Exactly.
So it says here the rationing covers what is called the Carrizo Reservoir Service Zone, right? And so obviously this is all geographic stuff, and I'm not gonna pretend to know exactly where all of this is. However, it does talk about why the reservoir ran so low. Rain has been scarce for months. Reuters put nearly 68% of Puerto Rico in drought conditions, with more than half the island in moderate to extreme drought by early August. The Carrizo Reservoir, a primary source for the capital, dropped to critically low levels.
Wow.
But drought is only half the story, as the pipe network is decrepit. Government reporting cited by the NPR says more than half the water supply is lost to leaks underground. And we know that we experience our own leaks underground. We know we experience our own leaks at Epau Beach, and we haven't even figured that one out too, right? But this is becoming overwhelming for them in Puerto Rico. Experts told the New York Times that up to 60% vanishes before it even reaches a tap. A major pipeline rupture in June made things measurably worse. It left tens of thousands without water for weeks before this rationing began. And the utility has struggled for years with aging infrastructure and underinvestment. This crisis is not sudden, but the result of long ignored repairs and climate pressures. And so this article here again talks about what happens when you have a 48-hour cycle. When water is on, you get roughly 2 days of normal pressure. When it is off, expect nothing from the tap for 48 hours. There is the possibility of an extension to 72-hour cuts, according to CBS News. So do not treat the current schedule as fixed. Fill bathtubs large pots, and clean containers during the on window. Boil anything you plan to drink if you are unsure of storage hygiene. For expats and nomads, this is the moment to check whether your apartment building has a cistern or roof tank. Buildings with storage often ride out the off cycle without noticeable interruption. Keep wet wipes and hand sanitizer handy for basic hygiene when water is off. Simple preparations reduce panic during the dry days. And so I was reading another article too, where it said some of these people that are living in like high rises, they prepared for this, but the ones that are hurting the most are those that live below the poverty, those that are living in substandard living quarters, right? And so they're the ones that are having to even walk like blocks away from their home to go to these water buffaloes and fill these up and then and walk it back to where they live.
Yeah.
And so it is now becoming a huge public health emergency. I mean, when you don't have water for 2 days, but then knowing that it's going to go off every 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think everybody on Guam has experienced that. No water, no power.
Yeah, but not recently. I mean, I guess when we had the typhoon and whatnot, right?
Mm.
But at least there was an end in sight, right? There was the light at the end of the tunnel. And so I don't know. I don't know if we here in Guam that would be unacceptable, right? But then what can you do with a drought?
Mm.
But you obviously they're saying, well, it's not just the drought. It's because our government and the utilities was just ignoring the
red flags.
Yeah, ignoring that they needed to maintain their infrastructure, that they needed to make make these capital improvements, right? And so a lot of times too, when we look at when GEWA is doing their meetings, having their meetings, or the CCU, and they're like, well, we're gonna have to work on this project here. We're gonna have to install more piping and whatnot. That's just a never ending. It's like roads. You will always have to repair these pipes. You'll always have to repave these roads. You're always going to have to make these capital improvements when it comes to getting water from one end to another. These things have to be changed out. And so we have our own, I wouldn't say fair share, because we are nowhere near the emergency that they are in Puerto Rico. But, I mean, we have our own water leaks, too, that they need to address as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but I remember when GWA hired this one guy, and he had, like, the needles, those on the hands and everything, and he had his headphones, and they were paying this guy some top dollar to find the leaks, right? And I don't know how that came about, but I remember, this was years ago. I'm talking like early 90s and everything, maybe even late 80s. But yeah, he had the whole shebang, right, with the two sensory needles, and if it goes left or it goes right, okay, there's a leak here and everything. I'm like, okay. But I think modern technology is we don't need to do that anymore. I think we've improved in our technology to find out where the leaks are at. And, Colombia just had like a 6-minute or 4-minute earthquake. And so I can imagine what the infrastructure there is going to be, right? And this was a couple hours ago. I think it was yesterday that they had an earthquake.
Colombia.
Yes.
Yeah. That's another, oh my goodness. Yep. Yeah, I was watching some of that footage that they recorded. Mm-hmm. And they had their cameras on while people were running out of buildings that were falling apart.
And they, it's not, they were recording like they weren't feeling it. I'm like, come on, dude. I'm out of there, man. I'm not even watching a building fall down. I'm like, peace. I'm going to find me a safe place and everything. But yeah,
132 confirmed dead.
Wow.
As of 1 hour ago.
Mm.
570 injured. 7.4, is that what you're getting to?
I believe so, yeah. And I think Guam was about 8, it was 8 point something on the Richter scale back in 93. And I think we had some damage. We did have damages, but no life lost on that earthquake back in 93.
Right.
And I was 20 years old when that happened. I was like, jeez. But, and I think it, building structure pretty much, because even the Philippines, they had, they had their fair share of the earthquakes too. I believe last month, and it was all, on everybody's phone and everything. So between, the storms that we're getting in the Pacific, earthquakes, and then also there are some volcanoes that are going off too as well. I'm like, makes you wonder, right? Like, gosh, everything is just happening all at once. So be prepared. Always have your safety, your first aid kit, because, look how quick the storms that are within our neighborhood are just happening. It's like one after the other.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord that we're not going through it again, but we are feeling some rain. We are feeling some wind. And so, just keep it locked here for all the notices because we'll be giving it out.
Right. Yes, sir. 3:59 in the afternoon. Now's a good time to take that break, yeah?
Yes, we are ready for the break.
All right, we'll get you the AP news, and then on the other side of that, we'll take a look at traffic and help you move forward. KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. In Colombia, at least 111 people are known to have been killed as rescue teams dig through the rubble of collapsed buildings in the country's third largest city, Cali, after a 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck. Barbara Mello with World Vision spoke to Sky News from Bogota.
Right now, the main needs is to know what's happening, how can we help, and how to protect the families, especially the children that are the most needed right now, and the ones that lost their parents or they are looking for them.
Canada's put its military on standby as wildfires burn uncontrolled in British Columbia, where some 20,000 people have been forced to flee their homes. President Trump's pushing for the spacing out of childhood vaccines. Jennifer King reports that runs contrary to the guidance of medical groups.
At the White House, President Trump signed an executive order revamping recommendations for childhood vaccines.
You have the MMR. We want it in 3 separate vaccinations, given at separate times.
The order will advise states to consider updating their school vaccine mandates to reflect the administration's recommendations, although separate measles, mumps, and rubella vaccines are not currently available in the United States. Public health experts have raised concerns that spacing out shots will lead to an increased risk for children who could be infected with a preventable disease before returning for another visit. The president has also been fixated on connecting autism to vaccines, despite a lack of scientific evidence. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says research to identify the cause of autism is underway.
We will bring you actions and findings as soon as they are ready.
I'm Jennifer King.
President Trump scoffing at Iran's demands that the U.S. pay for the devastation caused by 5 months of war. Tehran insists reopening of the Strait of Hormuz is tied to reparations. Oil prices jumped again Monday. Brent crude up 5%. This is AP News. Something for skywatchers this week.
Viewing conditions are promising for the Perseid meteor shower peaking Wednesday night, with a new moon preventing moonlight from spoiling the show, says astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Moonlight dramatically reduces how many meteors you can see. The dim ones just are completely washed out by moonlight. So on that day, it's been called by some the stargazers' heaven.
About 50 to 100 meteors per hour may be visible under ideal conditions.
Because it's summertime, people just hang out on the beach, like all night. And so that works. There's some meteor showers in the winter. No one is going to hang out on the beach after midnight. So that's what makes the Perseid meteor shower perhaps the most remembered and the most celebrated.
Meteor showers happen when Earth plows through trails of debris left by comets or asteroids. The Perseids come from comet Swift-Tuttle. I'm Julie Walker.
More stories at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
For a
1 in the afternoon. We are KGUM FM, Dedido, Guam. This is the Bright Side right here on Wave 105. And right about now, it's time to check the roads of Guam. Moving you forward along with Guam Auto Spot. Standing by, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
All right, let's check out the handy-dandy glimpses radio traffic app here. Where did you go? Got it. Okay. So, second day of school. I mean, yesterday was kind of like, so you're 5 minutes late. It's the first day. Second day, I think we're starting to get the routine, right? By Monday, though, we should all be on time. That's how. Just stretch it out as long as you can. Hey, don't, it's everybody's just trying to acclimate to the new schedule, even though we know we do this every year, right? Marine Corps Drive, Route 1 in the capital.
I am looking at the map right now, and there's like lots of red lines all over the place.
Heading northbound, right around Boat Basin, right?
Yeah.
Through Route 4, that intersection, it kind of clears up for you a little bit, but as you get closer to Governor Carlos Camacho and the ITC intersection, there are delays there. Airport Road coming down to Route 1. Around John F. Kennedy High School, you seeing that too?
Yeah.
All through St. John's?
I'm also seeing at the Adelude Point, that intersection there.
Even further back?
Further back. It seems like it passed the Piano Avenue.
Okay.
Pretty much. It goes all the way back to, I want to say the Church of Christ right there at that little church right there, right before you hit Adelude. So, yeah, and it looks like it's really backed up if you're headed up northbound on that.
Right.
You're going up on Route 1. Yeah.
I don't know what's easier, though, because sometimes it looks like, I see it now. Yep, you're right. Stopped at that area or going up Nimitz Hill, because all of those roads are windy.
Yeah.
And so, you're moving, but you're also going a whole lot slower.
Yeah.
And you're just going you're not making a beeline straight from PT to Hagåtña. So I don't know if that would be good advice to avoid it. I think you might still get to Hagåtña faster, but you are going to hit that traffic. Maybe you go up and then you take Snake Road and you go through Hagåtña Heights.
Yeah.
And then come down Route 4.
And it seems like...
and you'll avoid all of that traffic by Boat Basin, too.
Yeah, put it this way. Everywhere you go, you're going to probably run into some traffic, because I'm looking at right where Hagåtña Shopping Center, that intersection's there. If you are headed on Route 4 and headed to Route 1...
See that? Yeah. Nobody's got their bearings yet.
Yeah.
It's only the second day of school.
Coming from
the roads are wet.
Coming from Hagåtña Pool, if you're headed on to Route 4, you're going to feel some slow-going traffic there, nothing but red lines. So traffic is building up on that area. Man, it's everywhere.
Helping you move forward, even if it's at a crawl. It's Guam Auto Spot. Call them up, 478-AUTO. View their inventory on their website at guamautospot.com.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Tourism, it's our number one industry. As Guam's largest employer, tourism supports more than 50,000 jobs. In fact, 1 out of every 5 jobs is tourism related. Annually, tourism generates over $163 million in tax revenue. Without it, every household would pay an additional $3,700 per year. From real estate to retail, tourism has a positive impact on every industry, helping make Guam a better place to live, work, and visit. Support tourism. Brought to you by the Guam Visitors Bureau, celebrating over 55 years of tourism.
With decades experience in Guam and the region, Take Care members have access to the largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. Membership also includes the high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers and the one-stop FHB Health Center and Urgent Care. Ask for Take Care. Call 671-647-3526. Go to takecareasia.com for more information. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
Our critically injured veterans and first responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's why Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs tailored to fit their needs, to ensure they're rejoining their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors. Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
KGUM-FM, Dedido, the talk of Guam. This is Wave 105.1 FM, a Glimpses media radio station.
To the show, 4:09 in the afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. You want to talk about something, give us a call, 671-922-1051 or 2. Sending it back to Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
We do want to thank our sponsors, and that's Subway. You got to refresh to be fresh. Triple J, it's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail and drive home a new Ford F-150. Starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. GTA, we start with you. Chili's Grill and Bar. At Chili's, more life and great food and memories happen here. And MicroPack, bringing Guam the brands you trust and the service you deserve since 1968. Thanks for hanging out with us.
So I actually shot a text to Senator Vince Borja.
Yeah.
And he actually responded.
Okay.
And so I asked him if
He's very concerned about the charter schools.
Yes. He's basically in a meeting.
Okay.
About the Tizan Sanchez issue.
Tizan Sanchez issue.
Yeah.
So there are concerns there.
Yeah. So he's meeting with a couple people and everything. So, but I did extend the invite to, hey, if you do have time, just give us a call. So hopefully it does. Hopefully this meeting doesn't take too long. But I don't blame him if it does.
That's true.
Considering, right?
Right.
You know, Sanchez, Tizan.
Well, I mean, tomorrow is going to be interesting, right? Because they're going to unpack the governor's budget bill, right? And so I was able to look at some of that, and I'm just nerding out over how, what is in this budget bill.
I mean, is
10S.
Well, is there any difference in regards?
Yeah, there are some differences.
Does it lower the $1.4 billion or does it increase it?
No, 1.4421 billion. Combined revenue identified in the bill is 421 billion dollars.
Wow.
1.4, right? So in the general fund revenue, the gross general fund revenue, that's $1.053 billion. About $25.36 million is reserved for tax refunds. About $992.55 million. That's ultimately available for general fund appropriations after other adjustments. You've got $215.37 million in special fund revenue and $213.49 million in federal matching money. So the BPT does go to 4% starting October 1st in this budget bill that the governor has sent down. Because remember, she vetoed the senator's budget bill. I would say the Republican budget bill.
So what's the difference? I mean,
there's a couple of things here.
Where actual money is going to? Is that the difference? Or is there an increase in it? So she's taking a portion of this money.
There's a provision dealing with money GovGuam collects above the amount budgeted. So instead of automatically giving the administration freedom to spend excess collections, the bill will suspend authority to spend unappropriated excess general fund revenue without legislative appropriation. And so there's an exception, though, involving certain revenue above adopted levels that would go towards DPW flood mitigation and improvements to roads, highways, and bridges. It also talks about the performance-based budgeting. I think that's something that they all agree on, too. The fiscal year 2027 pilot includes areas within DPW, DRT, DPR, and the State Historic Preservation Office. The intention is to move to a government-wide performance-based budget beginning fiscal year 2028. GDOE is going to get about $272.2 million, $15 million for school maintenance and repairs, $385,000 for school grounds, free menstrual products in schools, that's approximately $25,000. Teachers could get classroom resource cards, so it establishes an educator classroom resource initiative. It allows GDOE to create purchasing cards for teachers to buy approved classroom resources. The cards aren't unrestricted cash cards. Purchases would be limited to approved educational supplies and categories. GDOE gets the authority to lease unused classrooms. So this is significant considering the whole charter school GW controversy, right?
But didn't they do that already for GDOE? I mean, that's what Senator Therese said, right?
Yeah, but they have to put this in.
Chris?
They have to put this in the budget, right? And so I think these were like riders or whatever, but now it's in the budget. Allow use of vacant classrooms, unused school facilities, decommissioned schools, other GDOE property. And so that rent collected would go back toward maintenance, repair, renovation, utilities, security and operational support of GDOE facilities. Charter schools are going to get $25 million. UOG is going to get $42.9 million. Guam Cancer Trust, $4 million. GCC, $15.5 million for operations. GMH, $21.6 million from the GMH Pharmaceutical Fund, and then $36.5 million from the General Fund. $20 million from unobligated. I remember you're talking about that $20 million. Looks like $20 million from unobligated fiscal year 2026 excess general fund revenue
from the last
for this
budget.
current fiscal year, right? For GMH operations. So that's in this budget. $7.63 million for childcare. So remember, they just passed it for fiscal year 2026. So what the governor did was put another 7.6 set aside, so that way they don't have to have this debate again next time for fiscal year 2027. Public health gets about $67.2 million for operations. Medicaid, approximately $32.6 million in local matching money. MIP and the Children's Health Insurance Program will be funded as well. The MIP is the medically indigent program. Foster Children's Health Care, $2.3 million. Homeless services, approximately $500,000. This provides for the Meals for At-Risk Households Act. Guam Behavioral Health gets about $25.7 million. The Judiciary, $43.7. The Governor's Office, about $6.15 million. DOA, about $12 million. It also talks about the GDOE leases in TZN. So approximately $3.9 million, about $4 million to include rent and insurance and maintenance. It also funds other GDOE offices, warehouses, and TZN facilities. The new government financial system, that's $3.5 million toward the 5th year of the government's Financial Management Information System contract, FMIS. I know Ed Byrne talks about that a lot. Revenue and taxation, about $18.3 million. DPW, $22.9 million. $2 million of that will go to village streets and road resurfacing repairs. $1.7 for bicycle lane infrastructure. I was hoping we are going to see more bicycle lanes on Route 10 because the roads are so wide. There's plenty of space for bike lanes on Route 10. Guam Police, $60.5 million. Maulik, that's the multi-agency unified law enforcement group, right? That's Senator Chris Duenas.
Yeah.
$530,622. Crime Stoppers is going to get $100,000. DOC, $39.3 million. Another $5 million in fiscal year 2026 excess revenue for a new corrections facility. Oh, and I know if Steve Amagan is listening, this is new. It allows them to do a lease back, begin a lease back contract for a new GPD headquarters.
Where at though? Jigo?
No, Jigo has its own police station. That's also in this bill I saw earlier as well. I saw that when they go to the section on GPD.
I think I heard talk about building another police department, probably down south. Because the response time, more like they're going to put it on the other side of the island, not on Agate side, the other side, like probably Zot near Talafofo.
Oh, the east side.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's probably more developing space there too, though, on the east side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Customs is getting $21 million. Guam Fire Department, $42.
Mm-hmm.
That's for they're setting aside $1.1 million for 20 firefighter recruits. They also set aside some monies too for police recruits. The Attorney General's office, $22 million, 22.1. The Public Defender, 10.1. The mayor's $16.9 million. And so close to $17 million for the mayors. The new Southern Village Paddling Pilot Program stays in. So what is that? $200,000. That's $50,000 each. Haget, Humatec, Malesu, and Inalahan. GVB gets about $29 million. Most of that comes from the Tourist Attraction Fund, but GVB can also put up to $650,000 into its rainy day fund. The retirees get their $2,500 lump sum, right? Come like November, right?
Yeah, late October, I believe.
Yeah, nearly $60 million for retiree health insurance. Oh, here it is. GPD headquarters in TZN. The bill authorizes spending connected with financing a new GPD headquarters in TZN through a lease-back arrangement, subject to legislative appropriation. A new sports field in TZN as well. The administration is also authorized to pursue financing, design, and construction of a new sports field. Again, subject to legislative appropriation. And the new GPD GGO precinct is in here too.
Okay. Yeah.
So this would go on in GGO on government land. This could involve financing, design, construction, and maintenance through a leaseback arrangement as well. $3.5 million for the old FQ Sanchez Elementary. Gov Guam can temporarily bring back retirees back to work. We know this, right? Corrections officers, police officers, firefighters, customs. But some of the other things that I don't know if this is new, but this is the first time I'm hearing about the AG's review from government procurement. And so it talks about Section 86 changing the Procurement Council law. It will allow DOA to employ its own attorney called the Procurement Council to assist and represent DOA and GSA in procurement matters. And so the Procurement Council would become the legal advisor to the procurement officer through the solicitation and procurement process. The bill still expressly says that the Office of the Attorney General shall still represent GSA, and the AG must designate the Procurement Council as a Special Assistant Attorney General. So I know that there were some concerns there. I read the PDN did their own unpacking or deep dive into the bill. And so the AG is not eliminated from the legal, at least how I'm reading it. Maybe we got to go talk to a lawyer. But I'm not reading it as the AG being eliminated from the whole legal structure.
No, especially if he's voted. He's pretty much the chief legal officer by the vote, pretty much. When it comes to, everything, everything has to go through him when it comes to legal matters. And so, everything that you're talking about within this bill, if the price tag is still the same, because I never actually looked at the actual budget from the legislature, but if the price tag's still the same, honestly, if I was in the legislature, I'll just let it go through. All right, now let's vote on it. Because nothing changes, right? It seems like they're shifting money around.
I'm curious to see if anybody is concerned about GDOE being brought under the Guam State Clearinghouse, because that's what I'm seeing too. Sections 81 and 82 remove GDOE from exemptions involving the Guam State Clearinghouse. I don't know if that's going to be a big deal or not.
Not necessarily. The Guam State Clearinghouse gets the grants pretty much.
Right.
Maybe going this route, they'll probably get more grants if they go through the state clearinghouse.
Because generally they go through the process, right? Instead of they go through their own process, right?
Well, look at what's going on with the charter schools. They don't have to go through the state clearinghouse. The legislature pretty much gave them the authority to go after these grants, pretty much. I think the state clearinghouse will probably come in and say, hey, they have these grants that are available. Go after it. But I think what this bill does is it kind of puts the, GDOE under the governor.
Right.
Via grants and everything.
Right.
So they're not solely doing it on their own. If that's the case, then get rid of GDOE. Just go back to the governor.
And I'm also wondering if there's going to be concern over this whole procurement council issue, right? DOE could employ its own attorney called the procurement council. So basically, this lawyer is going to assist and represent DOA, General GSA in procurement and civil matters. But the AG still has to designate that procurement council as a special assistant attorney general.
Pretty much, you got to appoint him.
Right.
And I don't think Doug likes to be told what to do in his own office.
So I'm not reading it as the AG is completely removed.
Yeah. Well, he still has to appoint, so, and that's what the bill is, this becomes law. That's pretty much law. We're going to hire our own lawyer, but you're gonna have to appoint them, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
The government small purchase limit jumps to $250,000.
What was it before? 25?
For purchases under that amount, agencies could generally use the RFQ small purchase process instead of going through the full competitive sealed bid process, right?
Yeah.
They're supposed to try and obtain at least 3 written quotes, right?
Mhm.
And so if they can't get 3, they can still proceed if the document, if they share that that these vendors couldn't fulfill the request, right? If they
That
couldn't
or-
find vendors that could fulfill the request.
Yeah, that or they just don't want to deal with the GovGuam. when it comes to going under contracts with them.
GDOE can get, well, looks like they're getting in a higher small purchase limit. They'll go to $499,999. Just $1 away from 500,000. So, and quarterly reporting to the legislature is required. So something worth $499,999 could qualify as a small purchase. Practically $500,000 a small purchase. Okay.
Not from where I'm standing. Small purchase? $500,000?
GMH gets even broader procurement. So the bill also changes GMH purchasing. For hospital supplies, services, equipment, and pharmaceuticals, GMH small purchase threshold becomes tied to the federal simplified acquisition threshold instead of a fixed dollar amount. So GMH is also allowed to participate in contracts used by other states and government purchasing groups under certain conditions. And so when the federal threshold changes, GMH's threshold changes with it.
What's the current threshold? A dollar for dollar amount.
Yeah. It really is only talking about federal simplified acquisition threshold instead of a fixed Guam dollar amount. It's moving away when it comes to small purchase thresholds. It's going to be tied to this federal simplified acquisition threshold. Office of Technology gets up to $500,000. Every GovGuam, I think this is already required. Every GovGuam professional service contract would have to be publicly posted, right? The bill requires every GovGuam department, autonomous agency, authority, professional service contracts, consulting agreements, independent contractor agreements. It would show things like the contractor, the procurement method, original amount, current amount, amendments, dates, and administering agency. The register must generally be updated within 30 days of a contract action. So there's 250 pages of this new bill, which is right on track for what a budget bill looks like, right? It's up there, 190 something, I think was the last one.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
From the legislature.
Right.
Well, I'm still sticking to my guns. If it's the same amount, go for it. I mean...
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the similar stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious. I mean, I think the AG situation, people are going to want to get a clear understanding.
I think that's where the legislature's probably...
And then the small, what is...
I'd see the legislature being resistant on certain things.
Yeah. What is a small purchase limit?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because you're dealing with different agencies, right? And they're basically calling the shots when it comes to these small purchase. I mean, what was the first one? 250,000. Then the next one was close to 500,000.
Yeah.
And then now GMH is, we're going to follow the federal thing. I'm like, okay. Well, if it's so good, why didn't you guys do it in the first place all these years ago?
Mm-hmm. There's 34.8 acres of government land in Dededo that would be transferred to Guam Housing Corporation. at least 200 moderately priced multi-family rental units. Remaining land could be used for schools, parks, recreation, and open space. This would be for people who are landless or who were rendered homeless by typhoons would get the rental preferences. They've had these kinds of conversations. I just don't remember if this was part of the legislature's budget.
I can't believe we're still talking about building schools and everything.
Could be used for. I mean, I'm down for this. 200 moderately priced multifamily rental units. Yeah.
Kind of like the dollar homes that we had a while
right?
back. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it'll be nice. Shit, do I qualify? Dollar homes? Yeah. I'll bid it up. $5.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, right? Because we're going to watch this all unfold tomorrow morning. I believe at 9 a.m. GVB governance restructuring. The bill changes how GVB board of directors is set up. So, are you familiar with the way the board is set up already? 12-member board, the governor-appointed member,
the
legislature, industry membership,
and then they have
an additional industry-connected director.
Yeah.
So it's already. Okay.
I think the board would have to.
That's already part of it. Then gas tax relief continues. That was in the current budget
from the legislature.
So that tax relief continues, and so the liquid fuel tax and automotive surcharges, the exemptions would continue to be waived. I mean, the tax would be waived. And so what is the gas now, $5.77? If we had that tax, it would be likely over $6 right now. New continuing GDOE funding from the use tax, so 20% of the total use tax going to GDOE. I believe that sounds very familiar to me as well. 20% of the total use tax would go to GDOE capital improvements, deferred maintenance, safer learning environments, ADA compliance, Head Start maintenance of effort, and SPED maintenance of effort. Public health gets 10% of the use tax for environmental health. So 10% of the total use tax would go to include inspections of food, drugs, cosmetics, and medical devices, plus training and regulatory operations. $5,000 to support the school PTOs, so that stays. I remember that's what Senator Chris Barnett was fighting so hard for, to keep that funding. So each GDOE PTO would receive $5,000 if they are a certified nonprofit organization, because not all PTOs have that, right? Yeah. Streetlight fund is there as well. Executive branch procurement must have money reserved first. Yeah. When I'm looking at this, the only thing that's sticking out, obviously, I know I'm missing something when it's 250 pages, but are they going to be concerned with some of the changes with their procurement council, right? And then what about the some of the changes when it comes to the small purchase thresholds?
I believe those will probably come up, and the legislature and as a body will probably be resistant for certain things, and I see those two particular items in the budget will probably be, resisted against pretty much. But the price tag, the most important thing here is the price tag stays the same.
Right.
And the budget that the governor is coming out, it's the 4.5.
I mean, we heard Senator Chris Duenas talk, right? We're practically there. We are in 98% agreement. Yeah.
It's just the small little details. And I think that's where they're going to nitpick and everything. You said and, not or. Believe it or not. because the language in itself makes a whole lot of difference.
Sure.
And so I think the legislature is going to go through this budget from the governor with a fine-tooth comb and their magnifying glass. But, I know that Senator Jess Lahan was talking about not taxing food and medicine, but I think
we need to go after that again.
I think we should, but I think because of that, right? I mean, I'm almost certain that somewhere along the line it's going to be affected, because taxes collected on that, I think the pharmaceuticals will these pharmacies, they probably might have a problem with it, and maybe even these grocery stores, right? They can't tax. So in other words, if a can of Spam came in at $2 off the ship, everything else that is tacked on, right? The sales tax, because I remember when they were talking about doing away with hidden sales tax, it has to be on the receipt. When you purchase something. And I know that Senator Joe San Augustine was leading the way about hidden sales tax. No, it's like, let's go be upfront, but it does when you start losing a taxes that is collected. Now, a lot of the things that we do is take our medicine and consume food. That's going to be taxes lost pretty much. And so how is that going to affect services, right? That's the big question. I think that's where a lot of people were saying, no, we cannot do that because it's going to affect. So he may, the bill in itself may give us some relief, but, there's going to be taxes elsewhere, to bring it up to speed. I mean, to bring up that net loss of taxes collected. Mm-hmm. It's going to come from somewhere. Where, I don't know, but I'm all in favor of the no taxes on food and medicine. I know that Washington State they don't tax on food, and so that's a good thing. I mean, man, it's cheap. You go to like Shop for Less or Pick and Save and all that, and you're talking about you go out there like with $100, you're going to come out with a full cart.
But our goods and services, especially at the groceries, right? I mean, that's something that we're very used to. Not Trump's like groceries. That's something that I have no idea about. Yeah. Just sounds. That's a funny word. He ran on cheaper groceries. He ran on cheaper groceries. And are we getting cheaper groceries? No. But our goods travel a whole lot farther. Mm-hmm. And that is why a lot of the things at the grocery store are more expensive. And I think getting rid of the BPT will help for the food, but it will still be more expensive than the States because that stuff from where it's produced and the factory onto the trucks to the grocery stores, you go a whole lot farther to get to us.
I mean, when you break it down, right, like let's use a gallon of milk, right? A gallon of milk, from what I remember, was about $2-3 at the grocery stores, Albertson, Safeway, all that. But when you look at it in Guam's terms, right, it leaves the United States. So the shipping already started, right? Yeah. So, you're going to have to load it up. You're going to have to, you pay your dock workers and whatnot. The unions are going to fight for their ship workers, right? So they're going to tack on their price. Yes. When it gets to the ship, now it's okay, the fuel charge and then the loading, the unloading at the Port Authority, right? The Port Authority has to make their money, right? And then, the unloading from the ships and everything. Now it has to be loaded in the trucks, right? So by the time it reaches Guam, it started off like $3 from Washington State or California. Yeah. By the time it gets to Guam, you're already looking at $5, right? Or $6. Yeah. Right? And then by the time it hits the grocery stores, now you have the grocery stores like, wait, I have
more delivery truck drivers.
That too, and then you have to look at the overhead that the grocery stores. You got to stock this and everything. Yes. I got to pay my people. Yes. So now, what was once $3, in the United States, is well over $8 to $9 for a gallon of milk. Yep. Probably even more. because nobody is gonna they're always gonna recruit on that expense.
That's why I grew up on space milk. Yep. 4:42 in the afternoon. You got somebody? No. All right, so we'll just transition then. Yeah. Let me break out my handy dandy Glimpses Media traffic app here as we wait. There it is. Thank you, Ryan. Let's check out these roads. Yeah, it's more of the same, right? Especially along Marine Corps Drive. I don't really see the issues over by Adeloop anymore, though.
Okay.
Right? Actually, no, I do.
No,
I do still see it.
It's still there.
It's all the way as far back as the Warren the Pacific National Historic Park, right?
Wow, headed up northbound, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And so you do see a lot of that congestion.
I guess it must be a blinking light. Probably.
I hope it's not anything serious.
Yeah. I think we would have gotten word from GFD. Did you get anything?
No. Rest of Route 4 looks pretty decent as you travel through Talampago. And then the intersection where Route 4 and 10 meet, I don't see too many issues along Route 10 until we get towards Back Road. And so there's some congestion there. Even heading south, continuing into Manilao. Just in that small intersection there, you'll see some delays. As you continue your way to the tri-intersection, it's not too bad there. All of the rest of Route 16 looks pretty decent until you get down to Harmon Loop, and obviously those right turns will get you, especially if you're not planning to make a right turn either onto Harmon Loop or Fatima or back towards where Route 16 and Route 1 meet. Helping you move forward on this Tuesday afternoon. That's Guam Auto Spot. Call them up, 478-AUTO. View their inventory on their website, guamautospot.com.
So, what's your idea of a 10?
I love guys who don't text and drive.
Girls that wait until they're parked to text? Bro, instant 10.
I don't know, but I got the ick when I went out with this boy who texted while driving.
10s wait to send. Eyes on the road, not your phone.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Tourism is our #1 industry. As Guam's largest employer, tourism supports more than 50,000 jobs. In fact, 1 out of every 5 jobs is tourism related. Annually, tourism generates over $163 million in tax revenue. Without it, every household would pay an additional $3,700 per year. From real estate to retail, tourism has a positive impact on every industry, helping make Guam a better place to live, work, and visit. Support tourism. Brought to you by the Guam Visitors Bureau, celebrating over 55 years of tourism.
Pat's Tinting and Detailing offers premier services from complete interior cleaning and VIP detailing. And to keep you cool, Pat's also offers factory, ceramic, blacked out, and base-approved auto tinting. For more information, call 647-SLAM.
Haganya, get ready! Something big is coming to your neighborhood. A brand new Cost You Less experience is almost here, bringing family fun, entertainment, and giveaways. Follow Cost You Less Guam on Facebook or Instagram for details. Something exciting is coming soon.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
Hafaday, Guam! The Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association invites you to the Fair Trade Show, Guam's premier hospitality and food service event. Join us August 19th and 20th at the Hyatt Regency Guam from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Experience hands-on training sessions and exciting culinary competitions featuring professionals, apprentices, and pastry talent. Discover new products, connect with suppliers, and celebrate Guam's hospitality industry. Don't miss Fair 2026. Visit GHRA.org for details.
Where Guam talks, debates, and stays informed. Wave 105, the talk of Guam.
Hello.
4:48 in the afternoon. Welcome back to the show. This is the Bright Side on Wave 105. Here's the number, 671-922-1051, or to give us a call. Talk to this gentleman right here, the host, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Bright Side. Hopefully it got a little brighter outside. I haven't had the opportunity to go look outside the window nearest
Actually,
to
the
us.
sun was out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it still had a lot of
See
clouds.
that? I mean,
Yeah.
Landon's, his forecast is spot on. And it's like, hey, it's just so you know, for the next week or so, we'll get some rain, and we'll also get some sun, and then some more rain, and then some more sun. And then we're probably going to get some more rain. And so that's what we're going to be expecting for the next week and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have made those calls too. I was like,
Hey, they might be hiring.
Yeah. It was like, hey, yeah, we're going to feel some rain. We're going to get some sunshine. You know, and if it just so happened that it's raining where you're at, yeah, then we got some rain.
Oh, yes. So have a raincoat, but also don't wear a sweater.
Pretty much, man. Sometimes it's like that, right?
Who needs rain boots when you have Zori?
Yeah, exactly.
Just as long as you're not wearing socks.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I remember the days. I don't see it anymore as much, but I remember the days where I'll be on Marine Drive.
Yeah.
And the oncoming lane is raining, and then on my lane
Yes.
it's all. I haven't seen that in a while.
I've seen it a couple times. I mean, not recently, but maybe in the last month or two I have. Yeah.
No, I haven't, man.
No?
I mean, I'm talking about years since I seen that.
Yeah.
You know, like I've seen it at parades where, the parade.
You don't
is going
see the
on.
rain coming your way?
No, I don't.
Where it's super sunny and you're like, that rain's going to hit us in 30 seconds.
No, that's just it. I mean, I see it at the parade. There were times where I saw it at the parade where it's raining.
Yeah. On one side of Marine Corps Drive?
Yeah, and then
the other side?
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the other side,
that is strange.
Yeah, you never seen it?
I'm not sure. I want to say yes, but I can't put my finger on
Especially like when I'm driving, you're it's all dry and everything, and then you're actually going into like a car wash.
Oh yeah, for sure, but not like while it's raining, pouring down, and then the other side it's not.
No, that's what I'm talking about. I haven't seen it in a while, and I remember watching something on YouTube like the strangest thing that happened. I'm like, well, that happens all the time on Guam, but then I thought about it. I'm like, I haven't seen it in a while. You're talking about years ago. But, yeah, especially with all these
It's
rains.
probably the military, again, controlling the weather like they always do.
What are the chemtrails? What is all these lines on the sky? And then, like, 2 days later, it starts raining. But, I mean, yeah, if you're out and about, bring a raincoat, bring the umbrella. Bring your Zoris just in case.
Yes.
Especially now because the weather now
Who
is
doesn't
it's very unpredictable.
sloshing through the rain in your Zori?
Not me.
Through the puddles.
Before I used to jump and jump on the bed.
Be like, you're 7 again.
No, man. Not with my bones. My bones are brittle.
I mean, for us, we're just in the radio industry. Nobody sees below my chest, so nobody knows whether I'm wearing pants or not.
working.
I did that one time.
Yeah,
when I was an anchor on PNC. It was a weekend. It was like on a Saturday, or like somebody got to come here. Like, okay, I'll come in.
No. I mean,
and so all I did was wear my button up and my tie, and then I was still wearing shorts and Zori.
Your cargo shorts.
Yeah.
No, I've seen that happen. So. Starting in the industry, working for a TV/radio station at KUAM, right? It was like, come on the air, let's go, do an interview, on camera. I'm like, nah, man, I got the face for radio. They say I'm really handsome on radio. But nowadays, you got YouTube and you're on, which I'm going to put you on right now. There we go.
Part of the whole thing now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's funny because a friend of mine sent me, I don't know if you remember using, back in the days when you had your speaker for your computer, right?
Okay.
And this was when we're on phone lines and everything, and your phone would ring, but your speaker would make sounds, and then the phone rings, so it kind of like predicted your future that somebody's going to call you. So you never, the rule of thumb was never put your cell phone near your computer. Because before it rings, like a couple seconds before it rings, your computer starts making the staticky sound.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and this was during the, what do you call it? The America Online type thing.
Okay, AOL?
The AOL, when we were still getting our internet on the phone lines.
It came in the mail? Your internet came in the mail?
Pretty much, yeah. So, I mean, I was just cracking up because I was like, man, I remember those days.
I remember trying to download music, and then somebody would call our landline and be like, oh, no.
Napster.
Yeah.
LimeWire.
Oh, I got to download Green Day again.
Especially when you're like one more, like
I
one
had
bar.
7 songs on my queue.
It took you like 7 hours to download something. Then that one call just messes it up.
These kids nowadays do not know the struggle.
Yeah. And I'm excited for MySpace. I kind of read up on it.
Yeah. Did they finally? I haven't been tracking this week.
No, they didn't.
They
didn't.
They're supposed to launch. They're supposed to announce a launch day, and they said they promise it will be this year. So I'm like, just hurry up already. Why do you gotta wait? I mean, you already said you're gonna do it. Let's go.
But
they're probably testing it out.
Well, I mean, because with all the saturation with TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, they were concerned that everybody's getting, the whole, online, social media outlets and everything. Everybody's getting oversaturated. It's getting too much. But I think MySpace is doing it just to revive it.
Well, they promise that they won't be using like algorithms and whatnot. Everything will be in chronological order. So if something posts at 6 a.m. and you get on at 2, the first thing you see is what was posted at 6 a.m. if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
And then you get to see what, then you'll finally catch up. But it's not going to say, you're not going to miss something, right? And only feed you things that it thinks you only want to see.
I just hope
like TikTok, when you have your For You page and you can customize it based on what you like and what you comment on, and then now it will only send you videos that pertain to that.
Because I didn't have closure with PFG when they shut down. I mean, they just abruptly
They ruined
left.
it when they started charging.
Yeah.
But I don't blame them for wanting to charge because
the data that they hold, everybody was pimping their page.
memory was too large.
It was too
so
much.
they were like, man, we're going to have to charge. And then once they said they're going to charge,
peace out.
Everybody
And then
left.
When MySpace, when we kind of had our fallout, and they just left me, and I still haven't had closure from my MySpace account. So
do you still know your password?
No, that's just it. I'm hoping that whatever, it picks us up where it left off. If you have an existing account.
I don't even know my email address attached to my MySpace.
So if you have a MySpace account, it would automatically go on. Whatever was there was left. I mean, because, man, I remember loading up a lot of pictures, of me and my girl and everything, and I would love to get that back. Because, I mean, these are baby pictures I no longer have. And so if that's the case, if they do go on and you do have a MySpace account, I'm hoping that you can, go back into it, type up, find whatever email you were using.
Yeah.
And then just, re-register, and then you give it a new password, and then you're on. Not unless they're going to just do away with everything and start from scratch again, which probably would be a bummer for a lot of people that do have MySpace. Because last I checked, they were already probably about 800 million strong, maybe close to 1 billion worldwide. I know that Facebook already has surpassed that. You're talking about the 100 billion pretty much.
Well, that basically was the genesis of Facebook.
Mhm.
They're like, let's create a MySpace,
Yeah.
but only for college students.
Yeah.
And then it got so big, they're like, well, I don't go to college, but I want to be part of this community. Like,
Yeah.
well, then you can. And then it started out just for college.
Mhm. But hopefully they do it. I mean, I would like to see it. Yeah, because, man, I remember, I think they went off, right? Like probably, no, I think it was like probably
2004, 2005?
around that time.
I'm guessing. I'm just trying to remember my own timeline.
No, because my daughter was born in 2005, and I was still on my series. I want to say like probably 2008 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah, around that time. And that's, when you think about it, that's like 20 years ago.
Mhm.
Next year will be 20 years ago.
Mhm.
So
It's a whole lifetime.
a whole lifetime ago. Yeah. I mean, now people in their 20s, your parents probably put up your pictures when you were babies back then.
We had family, what do you call it? The, not portraits, but, you had the family album that was on the coffee table.
Yeah.
And you open it up and it was all everybody's baby pictures and then family trips and whatnot. All of that is now on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
But what was before Facebook and Instagram were family albums on the
Yeah.
coffee table. Yeah. Or on your wall.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm just waiting out. I thought I was the only one, but somebody posted something up on Facebook. MySpace coming back. Everywhere the trend was like, oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yep. 4:59 in the afternoon. Let's do this before we take the break.
Sure.
Yeah, because I want to kind of split up the good news from some of the concerns coming out of Senator Vince Bora's office.
Okay.
So KGUM FM and Dededo Guam. Before we hit the break, let's do some good news for a change.
Sure.
And it is brought to you by Provisions Wine and Cheese. They serve fresh salads, delicious sandwiches, and authentic Roman-style pizza. So today's good news comes from here in Guam. It's an update of the World Theater Productions and the Guam Philharmonic Foundation Incorporated as they are ready to go for another performance from Arendelle to Guam, Frozen.
Really?
The Broadway musical is going to be taking the stage September the 4th through the 6th at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse. And I know that they've been working on this for quite some time. Anytime you're at the Micronesia Mall and you're like anywhere near the center court, if you listen carefully, you'll hear the "Do you want to build a snowman?" Because they're practicing over there. They're rehearsing
Okay.
over at the Micronesia Mall in one of the wings closer to I don't know exactly where the wing is, but it's you know where the buses drop off the visitors?
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
wing on that side.
Okay. Yeah.
So again, this is the Guam premiere of Disney's Frozen, the Broadway musical, again from September 4th through the 6th at UOG. For the first time in forever, the magic of Arendelle is coming to Guam. This spectacular production brings the world-renowned musical phenomenon to our island, featuring the Academy Award-winning songs by Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez, alongside new music written exclusively for the stage. The story follows Princesses Anna and Elsa in the Kingdom of Arendelle. When Queen Elsa's hidden powers trigger an eternal winter, Anna embarks on an epic journey to bring her sister home, joined by Kristoff, Sven, and Olaf. Frozen is a powerful tale of sisterhood, acceptance, and the true meaning of love. WTP executive producer and GPF board treasurer Margarita Margie Dansell says, "We are thrilled to bring the magic of Arendelle to life here in Guam. Frozen is a moving story that beautifully explores the themes of acceptance, sisterhood, and true love. Ticket announcements will be shared soon on their social media pages at WTP Guam, so don't forget to follow them, as well as at Guam Philharmonic on Facebook and Instagram. Cannot wait. Always looking forward to their next production. I had such an amazing time when they were at the Sandcastle, and they basically, man, I forgot the name of that show, but they took all of like these Disney songs throughout so many Disney movies, and they put it into one production.
Nice.
Dare to Dream. That's it. Dare to Dream. And there's so many talented singers and dancers and artists here in Guam, and they are able to nurture this next generation of talented performers over at WTP Guam. So I'm super excited for this one. And so we'll be following along, and we'll share with our audience when you can begin to purchase tickets, because I have a feeling who doesn't want to watch this Frozen performance, right?
When's the actual date?
September 4th through the 6th.
Okay.
Yeah. So you definitely want to get those tickets early, because, I mean, for the really good seats too, for sure, because I know UOG can pack a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
All right, let's get your AP news in, and then on the other side, we've got more things to talk about in the final hour of the Bright Side on this Tuesday afternoon. Here comes the AP news.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Search teams digging through the rubble of collapsed buildings in Colombia where a 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck. More than 100 people are confirmed dead, but one database has more than 2,000 missing.
The epicenter that was Chocó
Barbara Mello with World Vision tells Sky
is very known for its poverty, so a lot of people are in need right now.
Public health experts are slamming it, but President Trump signed an executive order that calls for spacing out childhood vaccines.
At 1 year, you should have 5 separate visits for vaccines rather than getting them all in the same day.
Congressional Democrats are investigating Trump administration efforts to deport family of some military service members.
The Associated Press found more than 50 active duty troops' spouses and parents have been detained by immigration authorities. In a letter to the Department of Homeland Security, the Defense Department, and the Department of Veteran Affairs, the Democrats say they will investigate whether the Pentagon and DHS are coordinating the effort, saying that the apparent collaboration between DHS and the military to deport troops' families raises both ethical and legal concerns. DHS says it values service members' contributions, but adds U.S. military service alone does not automatically grant lawful immigration status or exempt aliens from the consequences of violating U.S. immigration laws. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
And Jennifer King reports,
Jackie, the bald eagle who with her partner Shadow became an internet sensation, has died. For more than a decade, nature lovers watched Jackie tend to her nest in California's San Bernardino Mountains through a camera installed by the nonprofit Friends of the Big Bear Valley back in 2015. The bird was rescued after reports she'd been injured in a fight with other eagles and had been receiving treatment for anemia and other ailments at the Ojai Raptor Center. But her condition worsened, and the center announced the eagle's death on Monday. I'm Jennifer King.
This is AP News. An actor turned member of Congress has died.
Just a good old boy. Ben Jones' first game theme is Cooper Davenport, the good old boy mechanic on the Dukes of Hazzard TV series. He later served 2 terms in the U.S. House, representing a district near Atlanta. Jones' wife says he suffered a heart attack Sunday at their home in Washington, Virginia. Jones credited the series with pulling him out of a self-destructive alcoholic lifestyle. In a 2008 AP interview, he said many people could understand.
They can relate to alcoholism and all that behavior that goes with it because it's a common disease.
Jones said when he was sworn into Congress for his first term, he realized how far he had come. After losing in 1992, Jones ran for Congress again in 1994 and lost to Newt Gingrich. But he always embraced the role of cooter, and after politics, opened at least 3 cooter country stores. I'm Mike Hempen.
More news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
Once again, it's about that time we check the roads of Guam. helping you move forward along with Guam Auto Spot, standing by with the very latest on your daily commute, Mr. Pauly. Suba, buenas.
All right, let's break out that Glimpses radio traffic app here and see how things are going for you. You're going to be joining a whole lot of people that clocked out early. So expect major delays throughout Marine Corps Drive. Still seeing those delays, yeah. As you get closer to Adelup.
Okay.
And then also where Route 1 and Route 4 meets in the Capitol, right alongside Chief Kapua Park. And then you either merge up towards Route 8 and see some of that congestion as you start heading towards Kenyatta. After you pass the Kenyatta intersection, it's pretty decent until you hit the Tri intersection. Still, from experience and for the last couple months now, it's still a whole lot better than Marine Corps Drive as you continue your way through some of these major intersections like the ITC intersection. And now they just group up. So it's slow moving through the intersections. It does not let up until you pass the airport road. You have some breathing room in the Upper Tumon area around John F. Kennedy and St. John's. But then things pick up once again around the Micronesia Mall. Trying to get out of Tumon over by Tarza Water Park is going to be challenging for you as well. And it's going to be extremely challenging to get through all of that congestion on Route 1 in the Dededo area until you get past the Isengsong intersection. Once again, helping you move forward on this Tuesday afternoon is Guam Auto Spot. Call them up, 478 Auto. View their inventory on their website at guamautospot.com.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
With decades experience in Guam and the region, Take Care members have access to the largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. Membership also includes the high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers and the one-stop FHB Health Center and Urgent Care. Ask for Take Care. Call 671-647-3526. Go to TakeCareAsia.com for more information. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
Explore, snap, and share for a chance to win a round-trip ticket to Taiwan. Join the Guam Photo Hunt and visit iconic landmarks and hidden gems island-wide. The more locations you photograph, the more chances you have to win exciting prizes. Learn more and submit to win online at visitguam.com/photo hunt. Terms and conditions apply. Explore, snap, and rediscover Guam. Brought to you by the Guam Visitors Bureau.
Ever dreamed of being on the radio? Now's your chance. Glimpses of Guam is looking for the next generation of on-air personalities to join our family on Wave 105. If you've got personality, creativity, and a passion for entertaining, we want to hear from you. No matter your experience level, this could be your opportunity to be heard across the airwaves. Send your resume and a short demo to jobs@glimpsesofguam.com and start your broadcasting journey today. Join the Glimpses of Guam radio team. Your voice belongs on the air on Wave 105.
Turn us on and turn up the island dialogue. Wave 105, the talk of Guam, Glimpses Media.
I've got so much love and needing you so. My love for you, I'll never let go. I've got so much love. All I want is to hold you. Let me show how much I love you, baby.
Welcome back to the show, 5:12 in the afternoon. This is the Bright Side right here on Wave 105. Gonna send it back to the host of the show, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
Let's thank our sponsors, Chili's Grill and Bar. Chili's, more life, great food and memories happen here. Micro Pack for sound tech and everything in between. Think Micro Pack. Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh. Triple J, it's big deals on big wheels. At Triple J Ford, save thousands off retail. Drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first and GTA, we start with you. 671-922-1051 or 1052. We are online, the wave105.com, as well as our YouTube channel, Wave 105.1 FM Guam. Grab the Glimpses radio app. We're there. That's Wave 105, our sister stations, Power 98 and Route 99. So some more good news here. If you are expecting a tax refund, $133 million in 2025 individual tax refunds have been paid on or before May 3rd, covering tax filings submitted on or before May 3rd. So this is batch 18. Total refund amount, $5.3 million. Roughly, total payments processed, 2,313. Paper checks, 1,769. And then the electronic fund transfer is 544. So that brings the total to $132,728,645.45 for the year to date. DRT continues to process the 2025 income tax returns in the order they were filed. Residents who owe taxes and cannot pay the full amount may contact DRT's collection branch to discuss payment options. Due to the surge in the volume of returns, turnaround time will continue to fluctuate between 8 and 10 weeks. For more information or assistance, taxpayers can contact DRT's call center at 671-635-1840, 1841, or 7651. Once again, DRT's call center is 671, their phone number, 635-1840 or 1841. So some concerning news here is coming from Senator Vince Borja. So he put out a statement with the release titled Oversight, Accountability, and Enforcement under the Guam Academy Charter School Act. And it's a letter, actually, that he is writing to the chairwoman of the Guam Academy Charter School.
Miss Vanjie.
Yes.
Cepeda.
Yes. And he says, I want to begin, this is Senator Vince Borja, who is the chairman on Committee on Education, right? He says, I want to begin by making one thing clear. I support the charter school system and the educational choices it provides Guam's families. The legislature created charter schools to give parents and students alternatives, encourage innovation, and provide educators greater flexibility outside of the traditional Guam Department of Education structure. Those are worthwhile objectives, and the difficulties experienced by one or two charter schools should not be used to punish every charter school that is operating responsibly and following the rules. But independence cannot mean the absence of accountability. He says the same law that gives charter schools independence also created the Guam Academy Charter Schools Council as the authorizing and oversight body. And he cites the law. He says the council is required to monitor the operations of every academy charter school, monitor compliance with applicable laws and the terms of each charter, monitor academic performance, and monitor compliance with annual reporting requirements, including the submission of audited financial statements. The law goes further, he says. The council may compel the production of books, records, papers, and documents necessary to perform its duties. It is required to review each charter at least annually. And under the law, the council is empowered and in certain circumstances required to place a charter school on probation or revoke its charter when statutory grounds have been established. And then he says that brings us to the situation we face today. And he says, for more than a year, Science is Fun and Awesome Learning Academy Charter School, or CIFA, has operated without a stable permanent campus. Last school year, CIFA ultimately began classes at a temporary location at GCC while continuing to seek a permanent facility. Now, 1 year later, we find ourselves facing another last-minute facility crisis. As schools across Guam open their doors for the new school year, CIFA students are not beginning school alongside their peers because their school, again, does not have an operational campus ready for them. This cannot simply become an annual exercise in which the government of Guam is asked at the 11th hour to find another public facility and solve another emergency. The Charter School Act specifically requires an applicant to identify a facility and describe the site where the proposed school will operate. Charter schools are then granted substantial independence to control their own operations and expenditures. With that independence must come the basic responsibility of ensuring that students have a school in which to receive their education. Separately, my office has received information from the Office of Public Accountability regarding another charter school that has yet to release its fiscal year 2024 or fiscal year 2025 audits. Again, the law is not ambiguous about the council's oversight responsibility. Charter schools are required to submit annual reports that include their annual financial audits, and the council is specifically required to monitor compliance with those reporting requirements. So I believe we have reached the point where a candid discussion is necessary. At what point does monitoring become enforcement? At what point does a school's continued failure to meet fundamental obligations result in probation? At what point does the council determine that a charter school is no longer complying with the law, the terms of its charter, or the basic obligations that justified granting that charter in the first place? And ultimately, at what point does the council revoke a charter? These are not rhetorical questions. The legislature needs answers. So he's got a bunch of questions. He's got 11 questions that he's asking. We don't necessarily have to get into it, but he wants the chairwoman to respond to some of his concerns, which include he wants an audit status too. He says, I am particularly interested in the last question. And the last question is, does the council believe it presently possesses sufficient enforcement authority to carry out its statutory responsibilities? If not, please identify specifically what additional enforcement powers, staffing, resources, statutory deadlines, or intermediate sanctions the council believes the legislature should provide. So that's the question he's very interested in. He says perhaps the council already has the authority it needs and the issue is enforcement. Perhaps the council requires additional tools between simply monitoring a problem and taking the extraordinary step of revoking a charter. Perhaps clearer statutory deadlines, corrective action procedures, restrictions on enrollment expansion while a school is out of compliance, or other intermediate measures are warranted. Those are discussions I am willing to have. What I am not willing to accept is a system in which safeguards exist on paper but accountability disappears in practice. There are proposals and discussions within the legislature to provide charter schools even greater flexibility, increase existing caps, or remove some of the safeguards currently contained in the law. Before we make those decisions, we need to be real with ourselves about whether the system we have today is being properly overseen. If we are going to give charter schools greater freedom, then we must also ensure there is meaningful accountability when that freedom is abused or when basic obligations are repeatedly unmet. That is not anti-charter school. In fact, I believe it protects the charter school movement. The schools that submit their audits, maintain their facilities, educate their students, comply with their charters, and responsibly manage public funds. That's the part that needs to be highlighted. Public funds should not have their reputation damaged because another school refuses or fails to meet the same standards. Accountability should distinguish good charter schools from bad actors, not treat them all the same. That's an intense letter, right? I mean, obviously he's I'm sure, and that's why I was hoping we can have the conversation with him. But
I'm trying to get a hold of him.
No
right
worries.
now, yeah.
I know that he's also trying to put out other fires, right, over at Tizin, of where Simon Sanchez High School and Tizin High are sharing a campus. But I've had my own conversations, and so I think the world of CIFA from what I've seen in the past. From who is there, there are some amazing teachers and amazing faculty, and they believe in their mission in STEAM, right? That's fantastic curriculum. But there needs to be oversight when you're using public funds, when you're being subsidized by taxpayers. So I'm interested in seeing how this is all going to unfold. It is unfortunate, right? Because we keep seeing the same information being shared. And then social media gets a hold of it, and now everybody has their own opinion on what is happening. I've had some conversations too that they were asked to stay off the record, and so I really don't want to get into it. But when you're talking about parents that are wanting to move students from one community to another, that's one thing. When you're talking about a group of parents and a whole group of students making this decision as a whole because they're frustrated and they're talking to each other and having a conversation with another charter school and saying, do you have room for us? And then they're making those arrangements. And so again, I'm not, I'm going to not share because I don't have all the information, and I was asked to stay off it was off the record. But there are families that are organizing together, and not just this year, 2 years ago. And there are some of those students and families that are in another charter school because they're just tired and frustrated.
We have Senator Vince online.
Okay, sweet. Half a day, Senator. Senator, are you there?
Hey, good afternoon or good evening, Pauly. I'm here.
I appreciate getting back to us. I know I just shared most of the letter to Chairwoman Cepeda, and I just wanted to get more insight from you. And so, how did we get here? I mean, we've been following along here and there in the news and on social media, But I thought we kind of settled some of these concerns when I saw your last letter on Friday.
So I mean, the initial help was addressing and responding to the plea, right, with the SPED teachers, the stakeholders at George Washington High School, right? Because a lot of the focus was like, they aired their concerns and pleaded with us or the leadership at GDUE to not disrupt or displace, a lot of the teachers and the students by bringing SIFA in. Of course, after that was addressed, it was like, okay, let's look at like what the issue was, which is obviously SIFA was, they didn't extend their time at GCC, so now they needed a new campus. But, there are some, I know that there are some things that SIFA is working on to find a permanent place, and they've come across some hurdles, which is why they are in this spot. But I think what we're trying to address here is, where or who do we, who holds the bag with the situation, because this is the second year in a row, and we can't, I mean, I don't, I struggle with trying to say negative things about people, and
Sure.
that's just not how I am. But
I get it.
there obviously is a problem. and we need, there are questions that need to be asked in regards to the oversight. It's just like GDUE. Like, I always try to remind the public that we need to put a little bit more onus on the education board, although they're a policy board, and it's the same thing with the charter schools. We need to put the onus on them in regards to these types of things, because it's not, I think if it wasn't, if they're not coming, because one of the big things about charters, right, and how it's designed is that they want this autonomy. They want to be able to do things separate outside of.
Uh-oh, I lost you at they want to be autonomous. Senator? I think we lost him.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go, Senator. We lost you on the charter schools want the autonomy.
They're good. They don't have to go through lots of the bureaucracy to get inside. Or they need somebody in a technical field to come in. It's very easy to just go and get them and bring them in, right? Or they need a specific building. They're not having to go through the procurement, a lot of the bureaucracy to get things done.
Sure.
And that's what it was designed to do. So when it starts to disrupt, not disrupt, but when you're going into, you're coming back to the government to say, he obviously was trying to help, then there's something wrong with the system, right? And I think the first year was fine. Okay, you didn't elect to stay at your home in Tizen, and now you're looking for another place. That's not going to happen overnight. GCC took you in, but now it's another school year where they're trying to find, we're working to find them another place to host their students. And so, as much as like I don't want to, usually I try to handle things outside of the public hearing room, and I will say, Vanjie, very, very committed to and very, loyal, not loyal, but very, she's a fighter for the charter schools, and I give her that. But I also recognize too the structure, right? At least GDOE, they have a superintendent, they have a central staff that kind of oversees the operations of the Department of Education. But of course, the charter schools, you just have a charter school council that meets once a month. I think the stipend is $50, and even for them, like, it's not even about the money. But I feel like there needs to be, this is where the oversight comes in. And again, nobody, we're not here to point fingers. That's never really my approach. My approach is, hey, we think there's a problem. We can go through the details of how we got to where we're at. And for me, it's always like, how do we solve this, and how can we support you to ensure that this thing doesn't happen again? And we hold them to that, and we hold them accountable. We usually try to, even with when other senators come to me about it, it's like we want to not really meddle within the charter schools. But I think this calls for it when considering that it's the second year in a row. And thank you to GDUE for trying to help, but we shouldn't do it at the expense of disrupting a campus to accommodate the charter schools. And so that's where we're at now.
Yeah, there needs to be better safeguards, though, when you're dealing with taxpayer money. I mean, it's clear
Absolutely, which is
right.
why we felt the need. It's like, okay, you do get that autonomy because you're a charter, and this is why you guys are successful. But at the same time, like when you're using when it's not at the expense of taxpayer money, because there's a lot of accountability and there's an expectation that comes with it.
For sure. Any update on how well they're doing and preparing for Chief Brody for their first day of school next week?
So
or the following?
I know that they had a contractor kind of look at the work. They're pretty confident that they'll be able to do it in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I know there's some legal hurdles, or at least the interpretation of the law. Joseph Augustine's bill last year that allowed GDOE to lease the school. So there's some legal stuff that they're working through. But I think for the most part, at least talking to the charter school or to CIFA and to GDOE, it seems like they're working to at least kind of have a plan that if, when these things or the legal stuff is hashed out, that they're ready to execute. I know that CIFA had a orientation scheduled this week with their students, and so I'm not sure what came out of that, but at least from what I've got from the charter school and GDOE, they have an understanding that they should be able to make things work.
Okay, and so, it was really good news when I saw that release come out saying that we've transitioned, we solved some issues and concerns with the GW stakeholders and the teachers and whatnot, and so CIFA now will go over to Chief Brody. And so I think I understood it as you're probably going to have more of these conversations, internal conversations with CIFA, with GW, with the charter school chairwoman, right? So I wasn't expecting this letter, and so what happened between now and Tuesday, where you're like, now we need answers? There, in the face of transparency, there are some other issues that have come up as well with some of the other charter schools where we've been pushed to, and again, I don't like to call it oversight. When you say oversight, it's kind of scary. But there have been some other things that have been brought up that I think the public has a right to know in regards to just, again, taxpayer dollars. There are questions, there have been concerns that have been raised, and I think this is definitely why it has brought us to where we're at today. Aside from CIFA, there have been some other issues and concerns that, and again, I even, before we sent the letter, I called, Vanjie, and I said, hey, and I feel like, even with the election season, it's like very careful about how we do this, and which is why I didn't want to get to where we're at today, but this whole CIFA situation was like the icing in the cake. But there are some other issues, too, that we need to address as well through oversight, because yes, we can have the internal conversations, but I think I have a duty to respond to the community who has brought, some concerns forward. This last question, you say that you're particularly interested in, right? Does the council believe it presently possesses sufficient enforcement authority to carry out its statutory responsibilities? If not, please identify specifically what additional enforcement powers, staffing, resources, statutory deadlines, or intermediate sanctions the council believes the legislature should provide. It sounds like if you don't have the additional enforcement powers or staffing or resources or statutory deadlines or intermediate sanctions that the council believes they should have, that's where you're going to step in and create these policies.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the big concern, Pauly. When you look at again some of the things that when you look at even some of the history with the charter school in regards to their rent, right? And this, I think CIFA was aside from CIFA, you have I think even GACs right now they're not paying. Yeah. I think their lease right now is I think the governor's that comes out of the executive branch, and then you have CIFA who had an issue with their landlord there. I know I've heard even through with Island. I know they're moving out, and I think even that parents have come forward on of course I don't know if you've been to Island. It's a beautiful campus.
It is.
And they're
Yes.
like, why are we leaving? And that's another thing that we need to get to the bottom of in regards to what's going on there, because that school was built. I think I learned put some work into working with
it's no
Gura
secret
to get that campus built.
There's no secret. The nickname for iLearn is iLearn/St. Paul's.
Pauly, you're good at what you do. That's just
I mean, this is what the community is concerned about.
You're right, and again, I think in closed door meetings we're not going to get to the bottom of that. So hence the oversight. Where we have to swear people in to get to the bottom of some of these things. And I'm going to hope that the charter schools are going to be forthright with us in regards to just kind of addressing these things. But again, all these things really have popped up over the last 2-3 months, and and I think. And I give it to Vanjie for the work that she does, for even just a chair. And, GDUA, again, they have the board, they have the superintendent and a whole central staff to get all these things done. And I feel like in regards to that last question that you brought up and that's what I'm going to ask is, do you need, in order to have better oversight or even to support the charter schools to ensure that these types of things we're not waiting, you're not hearing about it at the last minute. I think they meet once a month. So, you can imagine all the things that happen, and I don't think they're going to have enough time in the world if they're only meeting once a month to really pay attention to the issues and to get in front of these issues before they make it to the media or before they make it to my office, right? That requires an oversight, and we're going to hope that through this process and through this exercise, that the chair comes with some kind of proposal on. Here are the issues. I know we talked before about, expenditures because there were some issues. Oh, the other thing, too, and the OPA, and that's where the other thing, too, is the OPA has reached out to me as well in regards to some audits with a couple charter schools that have raised some concerns. And so those are some other things, too, that we definitely need to talk through oversight. I know, I have asked, through internal meetings and kind of what the issue is. There was some reassurance that they were going to address it. But as of last week, when the Josefa thing popped up, of course, the OPA reached out saying, hey, aside from that, I really need some help with addressing some of these other issues. And so, this is why we're at today. And, and I'd like to always, say, and even when I talk to Vanjie, because I gave her a courtesy on hey, we're going to be requesting, calling an oversight, is that I'm really, I genuinely just trying to help. And I think it's a fair time to come in and have these types of, have this conversation. And hopefully my colleagues show up and we implement or change, make whatever change in the law to be able to prevent these types of things from happening again.
Understood.
And I think if we don't, we could be in the same situation next year, and not with just one charter school, but another charter school. But yeah, maybe there needs to be something in the law that ensures that these guys have, not at the 11th hour that they're still trying to find a home, that they secure that, and it's sad that we'd have to do that. But I'm going to hope through this work that we can avoid these things in the future.
Do you have any updates how things are working out over at Teason High? Two high schools sharing one campus. Is it working out?
Man, so I'm sure you've seen the videos, you've seen the media stuff. I went, I went today and walked around with the principals. I know the biggest concern is just a lot of the issues that are the responsibility of the contractor. So, we took it upon I took it upon myself to go and I went and I showed up at Cortez. Really, there, as much as we're putting a lot of the pressure on GDOE, there are a lot of things because of the contract that needs to be put back at the contractor. And so we met with the contractor and really pressed, hey, we pretty much just said, hey, there's a lot of problems at Teason, and I don't know if you know that there are a lot of problems at Teason, but we need to figure out a way to address this. And so we're going to be meeting. We've asked the contractor to meet us tomorrow at the school to go walk through with the principals, because there is a commitment that they're going to address these issues. And so we're going to hope that through this work again that we address. The principal said the three things that they're concerned about: ACs, leaking roof, plumbing, and I think it's lighting.
Lighting, okay.
And so I think the lighting outside. So those are the things, we're going to go through with Cortec tomorrow, or the principals are going to meet with Cortec tomorrow. And, the other bigger thing is they have a health inspection coming up. The one thing about that too is that Cortec was surprised because they weren't even notified by GDUE about any of this. So,
the other thing, there was a concern from some stakeholders is that road going to get paved? I know there's all talk of like success of the access road over at GW, but now other stakeholders are saying, well, you need to look at our road, the road in front of Teason High on the other side, right, where buses go through, or I think parents drop their kids off. They're saying there are a lot of potholes in that area.
So GDOE does have a punch list in regards to getting things, addressing the issues at Teason. It's on the list, but the priority right now, obviously, is working with DPW on the additional access into the campus. So I know that it's on the list, and we've all seen even with DW, right? It's on the list, but it's not at the top of the list. And so I think priority one is get that issue, the additional access into Teason to lessen, to alleviate the traffic.
Right.
And then it's, I don't know where on the list, but it's they're well aware of it. Dr. Wampat is not. She gets back sometime this week. We'll be definitely meeting with her to kind of go over all these different issues and see where we could support from a legislative standpoint. I mean, my goal is always to not, I don't want to ever get into the business of telling her what to do. And so I, at least want to wait for her to return. Sure. Her deputies have been open to kind of hearing me out and addressing a lot of these things. And, I'm grateful for really, like, they've been responsive to a lot of the things that we've raised and in at least being collaborative to address all these issues as they come up.
I appreciate this, Senator. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with our audience?
No, I mean, really just thank you to the teachers, really the teachers, the student. Even walking through Sanchez today or Teason High School, I feel for them. I even told the principals I would be, if I was a parent, I would be upset. I mean, man, from the smell in the bathrooms to the leaking roofs, the AC in the cafeteria, and there was only like 10% of the population in the cafeteria, meaning there wasn't even it was hot, man. And I could imagine when all the students are in there. And so, again, the thank you to them for holding us accountable. It's our job, and we need to fix it and continue to hold us accountable. And I'm really sorry on behalf of the government of Guam, because we really have felt them, and we need to figure this out, and we need to fix this ASAP. So thank you to GDUE, really their maintenance team. I know they've been working around the clock with what they have, and so thank you to them for doing the best they can to fix our schools, because they are tired, and I've seen some of them, and it's rough right now for GDUE. They worked really hard to open the school, so thank you, and thank you to our parents really, and our students for being patient, and call us out and we'll fix it, man. And that's all I could say. I mean, there's no excuse anymore. We're doing really bad right now, and we need to fix it.
Well, part of the conversation is balancing a budget, and GDOE is a huge agency, right? And so, what can we expect from you and your colleagues starting tomorrow on what the governor has sent down?
Well, I mean, luckily, even at this point, I think we're giving them $266.
Yeah.
They have $61 million in the bank right now. I think at the minimum $61 million GDOE has from like the previous year. And so funding levels, GDOE, and even talked to the superintendent, she's okay. But again, I've even told her just with all these different things, and I recognize that there's a lot of maintenance problems, and probably I think the last number I got from the last deputy superintendent of maintenance was over $100 million in deferred maintenance. And so my commitment, at least whether I'm the chair on Ed or even as a senator, is we need to fix these. We cannot just continue to keep, even Teason, I told them today, we can't keep trying to put Band-Aids on the issues, the maintenance issues, to pass the inspection, because all we're doing is covering it up to make it work temporarily, but the problems are never going to go away. So, continue to press us. We'll continue to do what, wherever there's money and extra money, I will fight to ensure that GDUE continues to get more money to fix the schools, because, they have the money. They're okay with what they have to make work for the next fiscal year. But we need to continue to either give the same amount or even more to fix all the problems at GDOE, especially when it comes to the infrastructure. Because although they made progress, there's a lot of work to do. I mean, we're talking decades of neglect with these buildings, and so. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen. Everything's not going to get fixed in the next year, but I'm committed for as long as the people allow me to stay here to continue to ensure that we continue to push more resources to get GDOE up to par. I mean, man, Pauly, I mean, you've been in the military and around the world. It's just so sad, the conditions that we allow our students. It's really sad, honestly. Like, even talking to the princess today, I'm like, man, if I was a little bit more sensitive, I'd be crying because it's sad. It's sad that this is what we're, like the bathrooms. It was like the toilets. I mean, I saw it firsthand, the smell, the showers and how it, like, just only one drain for all 10 showers, the classrooms, the leaking. It's just sad that you have to, like, with the amount of money that we spend in the government of Guam, our students should not have to go to a school like that.
There's only one thing that
it's heartbreaking, man.
I totally get it. I can relate to, and I appreciate you being very concerned about that. There's one thing in the budget that I'm kind of, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, and that's probably you having a conversation with GDOE on what the governor has sent down regarding central accounting. The governor's budget contains language that would put the education department under the purview of Adelupe's Guam State Clearinghouse. Are you familiar with that part?
Yeah, so I understand their intent. They've kind of asked about this a couple of months ago, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. A lot of it has to do with the late audits, right? Because GDOE just didn't have their finances in order the last couple of years, which has delayed the government of Guam audit, right? Which delays a lot of things when it comes to government budgeting, right? Because we need the audits in order to kind of understand how the government did, how much money's left, how much are we spending.
Yeah.
And so I understand, but what we know is, man, even right now with some of the contracts that the GSA and the DOA manager is working on the moat mitigation, that's since COVID, man. Like, we're still waiting on that to get that to be completed. I don't think we're gonna. I'm gonna propose an amendment to remove that and restore it back to to leave it at status quo. Do we think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in regards to their finances? Absolutely, but I don't think this is the solution, especially right now with them lapsing. Right, all we're going to do is they're going to continue to lapse more because now they're going to be stuck at DOA, and we don't want to. That's the purpose of making GDOE. I think if you remove that from GDOE, they're pretty much, they lose autonomy. I mean, without control of their finances, they're at the will of the governor or the governor, because that's where.
That's the exact same thing I said, Senator. You might as well just give it back to the governor.
Exactly, and that's what I said. Yeah, I said, we allow this, then we lose. I mean, GDOE pretty much loses autonomy. I don't care if you have a board or a superintendent. You're pretty much going. I mean, money is what makes that agency run, and so you take that away, you take away their autonomy.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thanks, Senator. I greatly appreciate this information. Thanks for keeping us updated and sharing your concerns as well.
Thanks, Pauly.
All
Thanks, Ryan, for following up. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
5:50 in the afternoon. Let's transition and help you out on the roadways. Is that cool?
Sure, let's do that. Last look at traffic. Proudly being brought to you by Guam Auto Spot. Mr. Pauly's going to let you know where to go on your daily commute. Buenas, Pauly.
Yeah, as we get closer to the 6 o'clock hour, people are a lot closer to their homes, I guess, per se, right? But I'm still seeing heavy congestion along Route 1, especially at the major intersections. Trying to get out of Tumon is still pretty challenging. Almost all of Dededo, from the Micronesia Mall through the Dededo Flea Market and through the intersection where Route 1 and Isangsong meet. Expect delays there. Also looking at Airport Road, East Sunset Boulevard. As you get closer to the airport, you'll see those delays. Things will come to a crawl until you get back onto one. Helping you move forward on this Tuesday afternoon is Guam Auto Spot. Call them up, 478-AUTO. View their inventory on their website at guamautospot.com.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Tourism, it's our #1 industry. As Guam's largest employer, tourism supports more than 50,000 jobs. In fact, 1 out of every 5 jobs is tourism related. Annually, tourism generates over $163 million in tax revenue. Without it, every household would pay an additional $3,700 per year. From real estate to retail, tourism has a positive impact on every industry, helping make Guam a better place to live, work, and visit. Support tourism. Brought to you by the Guam Visitors Bureau, celebrating over 55 years of tourism.
Hagåtña, get ready. Something big is coming to your neighborhood. A brand new Cost You Less experience is almost here, bringing family fun, entertainment, and giveaways. Follow Cost You Less Guam on Facebook or Instagram for details. Something exciting is coming soon.
Half a day, I'm Callan Perez and I'm running for senator. Service to our island has shaped my life, from community advocacy and substance abuse recovery to supporting sustainable agriculture. Inspired by my parents, Dr. Perez and Dr. Erickson, I remain committed to serving the people of Guam. I'm Callan Perez and I approve this message.
With decades experience in Guam and the region, Take Care members have access to the largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. Membership also includes the high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers and the one-stop FHB Health Center and Urgent Care. Ask for Take Care. Call 671-647-3526. Go to takecareasia.com for more information. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
Begin. We are Guam. Wave 105 FM.
Come on. Yeah. I said, wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking.
I have to get this song on. Very appropriate. It's about the kids.
The world has changed so
Teachers wake up. Doctors wake up. Beautiful song. Welcome back to the show. 5:54 in the afternoon. Gonna send it back to Mr. Pauly Suba.
Well, we're gonna go to the phone lines, right?
Yes.
So
I believe we have
Vanjie Cepeda, right?
Mm-hmm.
Off a day.
That is correct.
Off a day, Chairwoman Cepeda.
Off a day. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
on.
absolutely.
I appreciate it. I just wanted to say to Senator, our chair on education, Senator Borja, he did give me the common courtesy this morning. I appreciated that. I clearly informed him of that. I would appreciate that in the letter. With the upcoming hearing, that it's something that I've been requesting. I've been requesting to have this because there's room for improvement, and I wanted this, whether I'm the chair or whether the next chair after me, that the legwork is there. Because when I came on the charter school, when I was appointed to the council, there was no sense of direction. There was nothing that was in black and white. We really had to create this for the new charters, because at the time there was only 3 charter schools, and now we have 7. And so I just wanted to say this for the record, that do we need room for improvement? Absolutely. Do we need to do better? Absolutely. Are we doing pretty good? Absolutely. With the money that the Guam legislature provides to us at $7,800, and for far less, it's not difficult to see that. Okay, do we have problems? Yes, we do. But this really all stems back, and I want to say this in defense to the charters and in defense to SIFA. It needs to be said because they're just really being, they're really just being abused verbally with the words, with SIFA this, SIFA that. This all really started, again, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when they took it legally because their landlord at the time wanted to increase everything, and there was a contract already in place. And SIFA and the council said, no, this is how much was provided, the amount. They can't come on the 12th hour and say, okay, they want to up it, because this doesn't happen. So we went to court. The courts prevailed with SIFA. The SIFA was able to use a facility at GCC. That was done, and when that was done, they were looking for a place. Believe me, they are in a situation where they want to remain in a very steady place. There is a plan B and C that's in the work and in the process. And with the situation, I am open to hear and work with the chair on education, because it's, at the end of the day, the goal should always be the kids and the children and the students of Guam. It shouldn't be I don't have any hidden agenda. I'm not running for a higher office. It's election year, so I see everybody wants to put out, they want to shine. I understand. I'm not taking it from anybody. So with that said, all I'm saying is that all of a sudden everybody wants to call a meeting on the 12th hour. I've been asking this for 2 years, even the years prior to this. And I just need to say that for the record. And I've been calling this. I've been wanting to call some sort of meeting. And so it needs to be said, because I'm not going to pretend there or be superficial or fib about anything in regards to this.
In some of the questions, right, do you believe that some of the current activity that's happening, and we'll just generalize because I don't want to put out, I don't know all the information, but there is a question about putting a charter on probation. Do you believe that some of the current activity that's happening surrounding some of the charters, that a charter school deserves to be on probation?
Okay, so to answer, so you know, the council has put a charter on probation.
Has already? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I've done this. We've done this. Okay? We've done this. So just so you know, the council has put 2 charters on probation before. But we take care of it internally, and it was addressed. It was taken care of. They corrected the problem. They took measures to comply. And once they did that, once the probationary was up, we lifted that probationary.
Understood. And so when
we've done it.
Go ahead.
We've done it for a lot less, believe it or not.
A lot less, okay.
Yeah, because if it's not within the law,
sure.
And there are laws, and I understand this charter because I had to learn it on my own when I was appointed to this. The charters do well. The concern is that, okay, so I want to make everyone clear and understand that the council is the overall, and then each and every 7 of the charters have a board of trustees.
Right. Yes.
The board of trustees are the ones that do the day in, day out, day-to-day operations with regards to the charter. Okay? Yes. That's where I do not, as the council, we do not have any purview to go to the board of trustees and demand of anything. We don't have that purview within the law if we're going to be technical. Okay? That is what I've been pushing for since Senator Burnett was chair on education.
Right.
And I've been pushing this with Senator Borja. Right. That if we don't have to monitor them or ask to go to every one of their meetings, but maybe like on a quarterly basis, on a monthly basis, provide a report to the council so the council could be fully aware of what the board of trustees have voted on or worked on. So we have a purview of that because we don't have that purview. So that's something I like to strengthen as far as communicating with the council, the board of trustees.
Do you need additional enforcement powers?
That's what we're requesting because if they do that, then that allows us to say, okay, the council is requesting from the Board of Trustees on this date of your meeting, what we like to see the minutes for whatever reason, because it affects the charter.
Right.
These are the things that I have been pushing for and advocating for in regards to the council, giving them certain powers in regards to the Board of Trustees, because we don't have it as of today. The council doesn't have any power with regards to the Board of Trustees.
Understood. Well, when is the oversight hearing?
You know what? I read that this morning. I apologize, but
No
I know
worries.
the oversight hearing is within the next 3 weeks.
Okay.
Which I'm very pleased
Right.
that we're going to have an oversight hearing so we can clarify the fact
There you go.
from all the other too many things floating out there that
Sure.
is not fact.
Right.
And I think people misconstrue it, or just because it's said in the media first, it's not necessarily the truth. So I just wanted to come on and just say that I thank Senator Borja. He did call me this morning, and I was pretty firm.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been calling this meeting, and now you're calling it now because it's election year. I mean, this is exactly what I said to him. But I'm speaking the truth, and I understand that a lot of it had to do with the CIFA situation in GW. But it's like the people say, "Oh, it's election now. Everybody wants to bring up the surface and shine like the star." I don't care to shine. The kids should be shining because, like I said, this $50 stipend is a joke. It's a real joke. I do this because everything I get involved with, I either get involved wholeheartedly or I don't get involved at all. And so I'm just saying that, and I need to say this, that the general public needs to understand, and I keep reiterating this, that charter schools students are public school students.
Yes.
They're not entitled. Their parents are not paying $800 tuition. Their parents are not. A lot of our students are on free lunch. Many of them, 80% of them, 90% of them are on free lunch. These are public school students. They just choose to go to a school of choice. That's all it is. And pinning DOE versus schools, you're not going to hear me do that. I'm not doing that. So many people are doing it already. The teachers are doing it. Parents are doing it. School administrators are doing it. And I tell the charter schools, don't add on to this. You're not going to. And I don't want to pin this because I have families that work at GBOE, immediate family members. I was on the Board of Education for 3 terms. I'm just saying that these are the children of Guam, and that should be the goal, Pauly. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you engaging with us.
Thank you, Pauly.
Okay.
And I appreciate you and Ryan. And I'm not here to pick a bone with anybody. I respect Senator Wonka. He's the chair in education. I'm calling it out.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, Senator Barbara.
Yeah.
I appreciate him calling me. I really did. And I appreciate him, saying on the radio, because I like to say that I have a good communication with the guy, with the senator. He's a really easygoing person. And, he could tell you that sometimes I'm a bit forceful, but that's my nature. That's just that's who I am.
Right.
But it's
you're passionate. You're passionate because you believe in the mission.
Yeah, and the kids, the kids, why should our kids be third world country mentality? Okay? Why? Our kids are really gifted and smart. A lot of them need to come back home and contribute to the island.
Right.
Be a part of the island and be somebody's. I just don't. It breaks my heart when they go back to the States and they feel like their life is better back there because there is nothing. This is all I'm saying.
Right.
Is that it's a deeper discussion.
Right.
And I'm just saying that the charter schools and the DOE schools, the students, we serve the same student population demographics. And, I'm looking forward to this oversight hearing. I really am. It's a long time coming.
Okay. Thank you, Chairwoman Cepeda. I appreciate this.
Thank you, Ms. Vanjie.
Thank you very much, Pauly, and thank you, Ryan.
Take care.
I appreciate you taking my call. Have
Absolutely.
a good evening. Take care.
Always.
Bye-bye.
We'll always. The phone lines are always open to her and to the charter school community too, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's important that we get different perspective. 606, I apologize, but again, I wanted to give her the opportunity. KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam. Ryan, sorry, we're making it a habit.
6 minutes, dude.
We're making it a habit.
It's all right, man. It's all right. It's my contribution to the people of Guam. You know, paying it forward pretty much.
Well, we'll do it all again tomorrow.
Yes.
Mornings with Patty, rolling with dice from 6 to 10. Wednesdays are always jam-packed here. Hope you join us. Vet Talk from 10 to 12. Ryan and I will be back for another BrightSide. And then, of course, Oden Finu tomorrow with Senor Ron Laguatnia from 4 to 6. All right here on the Talk of Guam. We are Wave 105. Everybody get home safe. Be kind to each other, especially on those roads. Adios.
Peace.
Gangsta white